The Chicago Bears are less than a week away from making draft picks and adding new talent to this team. But does the landscape for this draft for the Chicago Bears change after Dexter Lawrence was traded and dealt to the Cincinnati Bengals for a 10th overall pick from the New York Giants? That is what we're going to be discussing today, along with our third and final mock draft before the NFL 2026 draft comes up this upcoming Thursday, which we will be live for. So make sure you tuned in for that. But for right now, I'm your host, Marcus Mixed It, Rod and Dolo today because I got two co-hosts that's not gonna be rocking with us tonight, but that's all right, because we gonna go ahead and make sure we get in and do this mock draft and see what's gonna be changing for this team. But before we get into that, I want to do a quick minute to talk about the Dexter Lawrence trade and whether or not if that is going to affect the Chicago Bears and what we got going on in this draft. But as it stands right now, Dexter Lawrence was traded to the Cincinnati Bengals for the 10th overall pick in the 2026 draft. That comes after Dexter Lawrence was not having a successful conversation with the New York Giants and John Harbaugh under the new regime as far as contract talks goes. He was trying to put himself in a position to make over $30 million, but the Giants wasn't having that. Those talks ceased, and not very long after that, he was traded to the New York Giants. So we had some discussions on here about whether or not if he would be a fit for the Chicago Bears. We had some discussions on whether or not if we would make a move to get him from the Giants and make him a part of the Chicago Bears. But as it stands right now, that dream is dead. No Dexter Lawrence in Chicago. The sexy Dexy train for the Chicago Bears has rolled out of the station. No more of that. We back to the OG plan. Build in the draft. So we're gonna take a look at a few things. First off, I know they're not really here to speak for it. Mark Robb and Chef West, because we was talking about this the other day. What the trade compensation would look like if we were to go out and try to acquire a player like Dexter Lawrence from the not the Cincinnati Bengals, the New York Giants. And now stuff has completely changed. Now we're talking about going back into the draft at 25 and seeing what we could do there. But I'll say this off rip. I don't think my co-host was that high on trying to trade for Dexter Lawrence and with a premium pick. Certainly not a first round. I think I was the only one out of the group of us that was willing to give up the 25th overall pick for Dexter Lawrence. Mark Robb wasn't having it. I don't think Chef West was really having it either. I'm trying to look for it right now. What did Mark Robb say that he was going to give? Let's see. He said the highest he's given up is a second rounder. Anything beyond that, and Mark Robb wasn't playing ball. I said I'd be open to doing 25 for Dexter Lawrence, but as time went on, I kind of reneged on that. I don't think 25 would have been a good allocation of our resources for Dexter Lawrence. But 10th overall to get Dexter Lawrence and have to pay him a new contract, which we'll talk about in a second too. I do not know I do know. I would not be in those trade talks if it was going to cost a 10th overall pick. And regardless if it costed a 10th overall pick or not, if I'm at 25, willing to give up 25 for Dexter Lawrence, and the Bengals are willing to give up pick number 10, I'm out because there's no there's no front office, no good front office that's willing to take 25 over 10, especially if it's not a package deal. And I think if I was giving up 25, there is no package. That's all it is. That's all it is. My dog says, "Hi, are you a football player?" I am not. I used to play football when I was coming up, but as it stands, I am not a football player. I do not play in the NFL. I don't play any in a league other than the NFL. But I am a host for the Black Bear Podcast where we talk Chicago Bears football. So, um, if you're a Chicago Bears fan or NFL fan from any other team, shout out to you for coming through and talking football with us. But yeah, with Dexter Lawrence going for 10 for the 10th overall pick, yeah, I'm out on that. I don't think I would have been willing to play ball that high. Maybe if I was them, I would have gave up 37 for him. But yeah, 10 is crazy. Um and then on top of that, they extended him to a 1 year, $28 million deal for Dexter Lawrence. Um, I'll say at $28 million, I'm not really surprised, but if y'all gonna pay Dexter Lawrence $28 million, could you have not paid Trey? That's my biggest question out of it. Like Dexter Lawrence is younger than Trey Hendrickson for sure, but Trey Hendrickson's tape outside of this injury period that he had. Um, outside of that, Trey Hendrickson is always putting up a productive season. Last year was probably one of the least productive seasons for Dexter Lawrence, not even getting a full sack, I don't believe. So to give up $28 million for that, when I think didn't Trey just go for 28 million, or was it 25 that he went to the Ravens for? Somebody correct me on that. But that's my biggest question. If they had money to pay for Dexter Lawrence, were they just completely out on Trey Hendrickson? Um, because I feel like they could have paid him when he been putting up good tape this whole time. Bear Truth, Bear Down. Thank you for tapping in. As you can see, I'm dolo today. No Chef West, no Mark Rob, but I'm still holding it down, and we gonna get that last mock drive done today for sure. My dog says, "What's your favorite football team?" Somebody in the comments let them know what team we represent over here on the Black Bear Podcast. One word, no spaces. Um, we also, in case y'all didn't know, I know y'all see it coming across the bottom of y'all screen. Subscribe and hit that like button. Thank you, my dog, for being the first person to do that. From this live stream so far, we came into this show needing two, as in one, two subscribers to hit our goal of 800 subs. So let's try to make sure we get that done by the end of the night, y'all. I know my dog just said he liked and subscribed. So I believe we need one who's gonna be that one that gets us to 800. Because we've been on the hunt, y'all. We've been on the hunt for sure. So make sure y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so y'all know when we come through and we can talk good football talk. Um, man, though, the biggest question out of this Dexter Lawrence situation is, does that change the board for Chicago? And before we start doing the mock draft, that's what I really want to talk about is the 24 picks that go ahead of us. The 24 picks that's going ahead of us, do they change the board for us now? Especially considering the fact that the Giants move up to 5 and 10. I think the Jets got 2 and 16. It's a couple other clubs in that has got 2 first round picks. Actually, I think before we pick, I think there's 4 teams with 2 first round picks. So we gotta see. We gotta see. I love sushi said the quality is taking me out. I hope that's not to do with my mic because I thought I sounded good before I got on here. Unless you're talking about my camera quality. Because the camera quality from my MacBook ain't the best. It be taking me out too, especially with my other co-hosts on here with better cameras than mine. So we gonna have to see about that soon. Um Mark Robb actually in the chat was good. The Giants got some nice picks in this draft. Yes, they do. 5, 10, and 37, I believe, is their first three. So they kind of, I'll say this though, they second rounder, they in that range I kind of wish we was in. We had 57, they had 37. I kind of want to be in that 37 range, but we going to see how that mock draft shakes out when we get to doing it today. My dog, do I like JJ? Depends on the JJ you talking about. Jalen Johnson, I like him for sure. If you talking about JJ McCarthy, completely different conversation. So, what JJ you talking about? Um, but yeah, as Mark Robb kind of just said, the Giants got some nice draft picks in this draft. But yeah, man, I think like I said, we got 4 teams, I believe, that's got 2 picks before us. Let me see. I know the Jets got 2 and 16. The Giants got 5 and 10. The Cowboys got 12 and 20. And who else is there? Is it the Browns? The Browns got 6 and 24. So all 4 of those teams, they picked twice before we get a single pick in. Um, that to me kind of changes the landscape a little bit, but it's really how big of a need that the Bengals just feel because uh the Bengals just the Bengals just filled a big spot at defensive tackle. Um is that gonna make some of these other defensive tackles come off the board earlier than we wanted them to? Is that gonna take some plays out of our pocket later in the second round? I know when we did some of these mock drafts before, stuff like that, we had Grayson Holton show up at 57 or 60 for us. We had, um, I think one of us had Lee Hunter fall that low. Who else fell? Uh, from the defensive tackles, it was a lot of them. It was a lot of them. We kind of was taking our picks with them, but at 57, Christian Miller. I don't think any time Katie McDonald fell that low. Um, Caleb Banks is gonna be there more than likely. But we'll see. The biggest one for the Bears, or biggest two, would be Peter Woods and Caden McDonald. Those are like the biggest two mock names to the Chicago Bears out of the defensive tackle group. Um, And when we do a lot of these mock drafts, it's flip floppy between whether or not if either one of them is picked up and only the other one is available to neither one of them being available. And that might even be even more so a problem now with some of these guys going. With some of these guys probably trying to get them now that Dexter Lawrence has changed teams, and some of these teams can kind of use their resources to go get other people. Um, my dog said Vikings. Oh, Justin Jefferson. Yeah, Jettis is a good player. I don't like the team he played for, but I definitely like Jettis as a player and as a wide receiver. Um, Still can't root for him though because he in a division rival, if you want to call him that, because y'all know on here that's not what I call him. Um, but yeah, man. As far as defensive tackles go, the Bengals got a good one. The Bengals got a good one. Mark Robb kind of said it here. The Bengals will rather have a proven guy than take a chance with drafting one of these young D linemen. And I think, as true as that is, I think a big part of it is Zach Taylor's seat kind of hot right now with the way that defense has just proven to not be able to to get on the right side of they team's ability to just develop. Like you got Joe Burrow in here, you got you had Jamar Chase at one point, you had Joe Mixon, you got a lot of pieces. Um, but it just seems like after they had to pay both of their receivers and not pay Trey Hendrickson, it's just kind of been a struggle to keep that team, where they need to be as far as development goes on the defensive side of the football. So I think in his position, you couldn't even really afford to try to put too much into building, but you do know what you got is a fucking brick wall who's gonna take two guys out of every play, whether he's getting a sack or not. He's somebody that has to be accounted for in every facet of the game, or you're gonna let him break the game. So, just him being that body that takes up the middle of that defensive line, they better be able to start letting some of these other cats get free. So we're gonna see how that goes, but it's kind of like the same mentality Chef West was talking about with Caden McDonald when we first started talking about him and whether or not if he had potential to come to the Bears. With Caden McDonald, it was really like, even if he's not the best pass rusher, he's a really good run defender, and he himself is going to take up enough space in the middle of that defensive line that the people on the outsides of him are going to be able to get free, and they're going to be able to be more productive and stuff like that, which is what we've seen around the guys that was around Demarcus Lawrence. But we're going to go for that. We got a super chat from Mark Rob. Thank you for the $5. He says, "Who are your top 3 players you want polls to take at 25?" Well, let's do this. I like that you just asked this question because I had a poll, and we're gonna revisit this poll at some point. We're gonna revisit this poll. Um, but I wanted to talk about what position we should draft at 25. Let's put it on this side. What position should we draft at 25? For me, player wise, oh yeah. So in the polls is new on here too. So type in the number corresponding to um your choice in the chat, and it's gonna automatically update the polls. But when we start doing the mock draft, we're gonna put this back up and kind of dig back into it and see what we're gonna take. But at 25, is there a player that I like? Is there a player that I want? Mark Rob said you need top 3. Top 3 at 25. In order, it's hard to do this because it really just depends on how the board shakes. How the board shakes. I'll say this. In consideration of the Dexter Lawrence trade, I probably say my number one probably would be Peter Woods. I don't think Caden McDonald is gonna be there. I like Peter Woods' tape though. He's faster. He puts a lot of he puts a lot of ability to be able to rush the passer from that spot. Um he put you're not really necessarily getting that with Caden McDonald. That's what we talked about. Um but I like Peter Woods because I feel like he's gonna give me some pass rush impact on top of being somebody that's gonna have to be accounted for. Plus, with Dexter Lawrence getting traded, I feel like somebody gonna get thirsty and start getting them D tackles off early. But if I had to choose between the two, I would say Peter Woods. Um, let's see. My number 2 at 25. I don't know how y'all gonna feel about this, but I think my number 2 at 25 is probably still Akeem Messidor. Um, I feel like there's a little bit more of a gap than what people are acknowledging between Messidor and some of these second rounds. Um, I think I think Messidor is the most complete when you if you put his name next to like the second round guys. I don't think like you gonna really see his name too much around the top 10 the top 10 picks or those top 3 or 4 edge rushers. But if he's not top 5, I don't really know who is. I think Messidor is 2 and 3. Shit. If I, if I had to pick somebody at 3, um, I don't want to say Emmanuel McNeil Warren. I really don't. I really don't. And I know that's what everybody is kind of thinking. I think I would probably have to go double back and say Caden McDonald. Peter Woods, Akeem Messidor, Kaden McDonald in that order. I need it to be defensive line. I need it to be trenches on that D line. Um, but I think we can do something different than a safety at 25. And I've been saying that the whole time. The whole time we've been in this mock draft process, I've been saying that we could do something different than safety at 25. Said I love that list. For sure. Like, yeah, D line has got to be it. I feel like if you stray away from that, it's got to be like a super true BPA situation. Or I'm not going to really like it. Benjamin Williams, bear down. Appreciate you hopping in the chat. We about to get ready and do this mock draft in a minute. But as far as it goes, yeah, I think those are my top 3 for pick 25. Yeah, you know what? The more I think about it, the more I'm solidified in it. I think I think we definitely should stick with D line in the first round. Don't try to get cute. Don't try to get fancy. Just go straight to the trenches. Trump 47. Can I expect your vote, sir? We we gonna avoid the political stuff. When I was growing up, people told me never to tell people who you vote for. So I'm gonna stick to that. I'm gonna stick to that. Um, but good luck to you. I don't know how you're gonna pull off a third term, but do you, bro? Do you? Ron Winarski. Did I say that right? Tell me if I said that right. Ron Winarski. I know I see you in here from time to time. Bear down. Thank you for joining in the chat. Thank you for joining in the chat. Y'all, Mark Rob said, Trump, you cannot get his vote. Yeah, if y'all know somebody, man, go get y'all a cousin or a family friend to get me to that 800 sub, bro. Y'all know we've been working hard to get 800 subs on here. I need one of y'all OG Black Bear Podcast family members to go ahead and help us make that happen. And if you're not an OG, stick around and sub so you can be a part of the crew for sure. But before we go into this mock draft situation, I want to talk about team needs. So what I did was I pulled up a list. Let me go ahead and share my screen so y'all can see it. A team needs, and I got it super zoomed in because this page was riddled with ads. But different team needs for 2026 going into this draft. It's in order by team, but we gonna go through the teams ahead of us and see what some of the team needs look like and see whether or not we think it affects us, especially after the Dexter Lawrence trade. Consensus that there's more faith in Elijah Hicks or Cam Lewis as other starting safety than is there consensus that there's more faith in Elijah Hicks or Cam Lewis as the other starting safety than with Booker at defensive end? Paul Martin, I'm glad that you asked this question. I'll read it again because I have to read it to myself to make sure I didn't mess it up on camera. The beginning is supposed to say, is there consensus that there's more faith in Elijah Hicks or Cam Lewis as the other starting safety than with Austin Booker starting at defensive end? I won't say consensus. I'll say I won't even say that it's an even split either because I don't believe that. But what I do believe is that the Bears are very intrigued by some of the productivity Austin Booker had going into the end of last season. And I think that they're gonna be keeping an eye on that. Do I feel like they're not gonna add to the room? No, I don't. But at the same time, do I feel like they finna kind of crowd the room? I do because they got a lot of players that they want to use in a versatile way. So you got to kind of include some of these defensive interior players as as edge rushers as well. So I think that that's going to be a part of it. Um, but as far as Elijah Hicks or Cam Lewis starting at safety, that's interesting. I haven't heard too much of the Cam Lewis. Now, obviously, we know what Elijah Hicks look like at safety, but I don't think that they think that he's going to be taking that starting spot for them. Um, I think Elijah Hicks is definitely here to be a depth piece. Um, I think Cam Lewis is going to be more than what Elijah Hicks is, though. I do think that they're searching for somebody to come and take that starter spot. And if anything, it's gonna be a competition. I think Cam Lewis is gonna be a part of that competition. Whether or not if he wins it, is gonna be another conversation. But um I think that they're going to definitely have some type of competition as far as who's going to be in a secondary. We've seen the competition happen last year at DB. I think it's going to be very similar to that type of situation. And we're going to go from there. Now, the real question is whether or not if Tyreek is going to be here because um, Tyreek is, he didn't have the bounce back season that he wanted to from the final Eberflus era year. But um, I think that he's around for a reason. Like the Bears had a lot of opportunity to move off Tyreek if they weren't going to keep him around. So, um, Cam Lewis taking that safety spot, I wouldn't necessarily bet on it. I would really bet on him taking a DB spot, and it's only one DB spot that he could really take unless they really just don't like what Jalen Johnson is bringing to the field. And that's going to be a big question in itself too, because Jalen Johnson came back. He was obviously slower, having dealt with the quad injury and all of that stuff that he had dealt with and stuff is, and they talked a lot about being faster on defense. So how much of Jalen Johnson and being um able to keep up with the level of speed that they want on defense, how much is that going to come into play at, like post injury, I mean. So, um, we'll go from there as far as that conversation goes. I think there's another name that's on this team that they'll really be looking at safety, and we'll talk about it a little bit later. But let me go through a few more of these comments. Slim Bo Boogie, thank you for tapping in. He says Cassius Howell, Lee Hunter, Grayson Holton will be lethal trio of picks at 25, 57, and 60. Last 3 seasons in 39 games combined, 80 TFLs and 40 sacks. Now that, I won't lie, that's some intriguing shit that you just said because um on paper it sounds so good. It sounds so good. But then when you look at some of these players individually, when you look at some of their tape individually, I don't feel like they necessarily pop off screen to me. Like for example, Lee Hunter, I don't think Lee Hunter is a bad player. I just don't think Lee Hunter is as mobile as I want him to be. And I feel like in his tape, you can kind of see that, especially when you comparing it to other people tape that's been mocked to the draft. I mean, mocked to the Bears and stuff like that. For example, we talked about Peter Woods. Peter Woods, I feel like is much more of an athlete from a physical standpoint, at least, than Lee Hunter is. Do that mean Lee Hunter's bad at his job? No. Do that mean he's going to be a bad player when he gets to the league? I don't think so. Um, I just feel like at 25, Peter Woods is a better player. But you talking about taking Lee Hunter at 57. So I guess if you get him at 57, I'm not necessarily mad at that. Cassius Howell at 25 though. I don't know. It depends on how the ball fall, if how the board falls. I don't know if Cassius Howell would be 25. Maybe we can move down to try to get him at in like the 30s or something. But we'll see. We'll see. Um Ryan said Booker's building himself up. I watched his videos. Slimbo Boogie back with the Cassius Howe. 2025 unanimous All American. Lee Hunter first team All American. You get two All Americans, one at 25, one at 57. I mean, I'm not arguing with it. If it's productive, it's productive. And that's what we want more than anything is that production on the D line. So if they can come in and be productive and do some stuff together, that's going to help improve this defense. I'm for it, but to me, it's just like I guess what I'm really looking at in my head is if the Bears kind of have the pick of the litter, no matter where they pick at. It feels like every spot they pick except 60, they won't. It feels like 25, whoever you get at 25 is going to be the guy that falls to you at 25. It's going to be like 80% of the picks that you wanted is probably already gone. Same thing with 57. That's why I kind of feel like that sweet spot to get into is like that kind of mid to low 30s, high 40s, where we can get somebody that's really a value at that spot and possibly get an extra pick out of it. But we'll see what the Bears do. And it's been a lot of talks the whole offseason about the Bears trading down from 25, but we'll see because obviously historically they not at 25 that often. So it'll go, kind of have to go how the board falls. Um Paul Martin, I'm seeing many pundits seem to think we can get safety at third round or later. I mean, I'm not necessarily in disagreement with that, but I think it's players that we talked about. For example, we talked about Traden Stukes when we did our safety profile on the show a few weeks back. Well, he's not necessarily a true safety. He's more like a nickel hybrid safety. But they got a lot of use for that, especially when you got a nickel hybrid and Kyler Gordon, who used to play outside corner. Um, you can bring in another nickel and kind of be able to switch out these guys, be able to have one drop back into a safety spot. And I think that kind of just adds to the way that DA can kind of weaponize this defense if he does that. So I don't think that they necessarily need to rush to the podium for a safety, especially not at 25. Um, Rick Mosby said AJ Halsey. Um, AJ Halsey, I like AJ Halsey too. I don't like AJ Halsey more than some of these other people though. So we'll see. We will see. Ron, do you think the Bears will still trade for Mad Max? I'm gonna say no because I don't think I think if they were going to make a trade like that, that was gonna be heavy financially for them. Like they would have to move some money around. They have to do a lot to be able to make sure that they pay them. I think that they would have started making some of those moves and stuff already, or they would have kind of took a shot at some of the stuff already. But the Bears up to this point, and mind you, we less than a week away from the draft, we haven't restructured no contracts. Um, I don't really think we did no extensions or anything like that. Like we kind of pretty much left everything untouched. To me, that tells me that they focus is trying to build this team up in the draft first and then see what goes on after that. Um, but as it stands, no, I don't think that he's gonna move out of the Vegas, at least not for this year. Let's go. I'm gonna try to get through a few more of these comments before we pull up that team needs list. Talk Yo Shy back in here, so I appreciate that. Zachariah Branch got arrested. Let's take him in the later rounds. He's gonna drop now. I seen that and I was just like, that's kind of interesting. I do remember when I was doing my mock draft, his name was a name that I came across a couple of times, and I kept trying to wait and get him at a later spot or trade down and get him at a later spot. It didn't happen for me though. So maybe some stuff changes. Maybe some stuff changes on these simulators. I know they all got New York at number 5 and 10 now. So I don't know. We'll see. Um Slimbo Boogie said, I'm penciling in Booker at 8 to 9 sacks in 2026. If he has 8 to 9 sacks, I'll be happy with it. I'll be more than happy with it, actually. Um, so I can get 12 sacks in 2026 with Booker improving also. And see, if those are your two guys, I wouldn't necessarily be mad at it. But to me, you got to be able to, as a team, you got to be able to get more than 30 something sacks, mid 30s. Like, if your two edges is combining for low 20s, you gotta produce a lot of sacks elsewhere. So that's the biggest question to me is how are you going to utilize some of this other talent? Because obviously we've seen all last season DA rushing people off the edges in terms of like Nichols and CJGJ and the way that they like to play with Kyler Gordon and stuff like that. They got to manufacture a lot more of these sacks. Like as much as 8 sacks in the season, 9 sacks sounds like a decent number. 12 sacks for Montez sounds like a good number. To me, I look at that and I'm just like, okay, where's the rest of it coming from? Because we still need more than that. So, I mean, obviously we're gonna have more than that, but we got to see. Slimbo Boogie, would you trade back with the Giants for pick 37 and 105? The Bears give up 25 and we'll have 37, 57, 60, 89, 105, 129. Then you also have 239 and 241. See, that's the type of trade I would not be mad at. Would they go for 25 by itself for 37 and 105? I don't know. To me it sounds like good trade value, but when we do this mock draft, we're gonna load up that exact trade scenario and see whether or not if they take it. So remember that because we're gonna talk about it. Paul Martin. Slim, I'm not sure the Giants would want or need another first. And that's the biggest reason why I asked it, because what are they gonna do with 3 firsts? Except try to trade out of one of them and get more picks. You know what I'm saying? So to me, a trade like that is something that I would be looking for, but is that something that they'll go for? That's gonna be hard. They might go for it on this mock, but in a real situation, they might not. Maybe they get to 5 and then trade down and they want to get back in and get somebody. Trade down from 10, I mean. Like they get somebody at 5, get to 10, the person that they want ain't on the board. They trade out of 10. But 10 is crazy to trade out of. Like you can get crazy value still in that top 10 unless the board just falls somewhere away where there's nobody worthy of 10 available for them. So we'll see. We'll see. Slim, the Jets have 33 and 44. Can we fleece them for pick 25 to the Jets for 33 and 44? They'll want something else back for that. If we give up 25, they'll give us 33 for sure. They're not giving you 44 though. That's too high. They'll probably give you like 33 in a fourth rounder or something like that. But they won't give up 2 in a second for that unless you're trying to do like 25 plus. I don't know. Maybe you'll have to package it a little, or maybe you'll have to package it a little bit differently. Like you give up 25 and 60 and you take 33 and 44. So you have 33, 44, and 57. Um, there's some ways around it though. We'll figure out what it needs. We got that 800 sub. Shout out to y'all, man. We appreciate y'all on the Black Bear Podcast. One word, no spaces. We talk a lot of good football talk, and it has been a long, long road to 800. But the work ain't done yet. We loading up the new goal, 900, started right now. 900, we on the way, so let's go. Let's see what Paul Martin had to say. I've seen some folks say wide receiver at 25 isn't crazy because of the loss of DJ. Is Jadarian Price crazy at 25 since Swift is in his last year of his contract? Three-headed monster at running back for 26. Now um that is an interesting thing. You know what? I'll say this. I do think that Ben Johnson is gonna have like a quote unquote luxury picking him at some point in his draft. Either he's gonna have a luxury pick or the Bears are just gonna try to find like a true sleeper. At 25 though, I feel like it would be very irresponsible. I think I first of all, Jadarian Price is definitely gonna be there at 25, but I don't think having a three-headed monster that like I don't think that's moving the needle as much as you want it to, especially because as a team, like if you think of what we need on offense in that running back room, we got, Swift at least throughout this next season, who's really pretty much just he's solid at the different things you need him to do. He's not great at certain stuff per se, but he's really good in a lot of different aspects. Mananga, I feel like he's a bruiser. He's a bruiser. He's not the speed guy, but he's a bruiser. He don't fumble that football. Um, Foster, thank you for the eight. I mean, congratulations for the 800 subs. Thank you for the congratulations. We gonna keep going though. We gonna keep going because 900 is on the way. Um, um, but back to the Jadarian Price thing. Yeah, I feel like in that running back room, the one thing you need that you don't have is speed. Like you need somebody that can just break the fucking play. That can just break the play. And to me, it feels like if that's the main aspect that because to me, when I look at these running backs, especially running backs that I would take in this draft, um, it's a guy that has breakaway speed, but that also has like they not the worst blocker. I mean, like like a lot of these guys you're gonna get, they're not gonna come in and be like the best blocking running backs or whatever. But um I think Ben Johnson likes his skill guys to all really be well and like they proficient in blocking, but more than anything, a willing blocker. We seen it last year where he said no block, no rock, and we seen Luther Burden make some of his best clips in the season off of pass blocks, or run blocks. So I think that that's gonna play a big part in it. Do you go for a player like that at 25 though? No, because as much as Jadarian Price is a good player, there's other stuff that you need, and there's other people that are going to be good players on the board still, even if you do take them. So I say don't get irresponsible. Um, Office Foundation, massive control. Oh, he's talking about Avion Thomas. Um, Slimbo Boogie, time for the Bears. I mean, time to win for the Bears now. If we look forward to 2027 and say the Bears repeat back-to-back seasons with playoff success, they will give Caleb Williams 50 million per year. Right, Rome, Bird, and Loveland 20 to 25 million each. And he also said Darnell wants a 5-year, 120 million. Um, so as far as Caleb Williams go, I'll say this. The Bears make the playoffs again and win another playoff game, that first number on Caleb's new contract is more than likely gonna start with a 6. Um, I think that they're gonna lock that up. I think that first of all, I think with Darnell and Caleb, for both of these guys, they need to be exercising that 5th-year option. Um, but then I think you also should extend them the same way that some of these other teams been doing this off season. where you accept the person's fifth year option and then you extend them so you really get an extra year out of it. And that's not just an extra year to have the player, but that's the extra year to spread out the cap hit. And I think that's the best way to do it because you did just name a lot of players that's going to be core players to the system. So they gotta be able to retain some of these, especially a lot of these younger dudes. So we gonna need to see. We're gonna need to see. But we're gonna take a break from going through the comments real quick because I want to talk about team needs and how it affects the draft for the Chicago Bears. So right now, I got a list of each team and what their needs are. But before I go through that list, we're gonna go through some of these teams that's ahead of us in the draft. Raiders, Jets, Cardinals, Titans, Giants. Those are the first five. And we're gonna kind of go through these team needs real quick. The first team on the board is gonna be the Raiders. So let's see if we can find LV on this list. Quarterback, wide receiver, offensive tackle, defensive lineman. Um, the Raiders really need everything. I mean, obviously they're gonna go Fernando Mendoza first, so I guess that pick really don't matter unless they're gonna try to find themselves back into the first round at some point. Because their next pick after that ain't until 36. I think the worry starts with the Jets though, because the Jets got two, they got 16, and they need a little bit of everything. So I don't even really need to scroll and find New York on here, but we'll do it anyway. Wide receiver, linebacker, edge, cornerback. They need everything. They might as well just came on here and say they need everything. My biggest fear with the Giants though is that not at 2, but at 16, it's not the player that they're gonna take, it's the position that they're gonna take. Um, because I feel like when you start going defensive line in this draft, it's gonna create a run. It's gonna create a run, like depending on how these lottery picks shake out, even with David Bailey, Ruben Bain, Arvell Reese, all these guys. How early they go, they might, it might change up the board on how many of these guys is even available at 25 for us. So I think that that's something that we kind of got to be considerate about. The Giants are right above them. They kind of just filled that D line spot a little bit. So now they got linebacker, safety, wide receiver, offensive tackle. Do they go um Caleb Downs or Sonny Styles or do they, well, I feel like at 5 or 10, you gotta be looking at the group above Thieneman and Emmanuel McNeil Warren, right? Because Sonny Styles is gonna be there. Caleb Downs is gonna be there. So I guess we can see. Um, what else y'all say in these comments? Wesley Downs. The Bears are in a fantastic position to take the BPA. We need everything except punter and QB. But all we really need is a starting safety, and we can get one all the way in the third round. Pose is a chef. I do feel like the more this offseason is going on, I've been kind of liking what the Bears been doing, even if a lot of it is kind of sitting and waiting. Um, but I will say, we do need a little bit more than just safety. We need that defensive line to be kind of flipped upside down a little bit. So as much as safety is a really really big need for us, the fact that we can dig this deep in the draft and still get one that's available to start for us, I think it's a big thing. But when you say that, the hard part about the BPA situation is you gotta wait in real time to see what BPA actually means. So you gotta scout everything. You gotta scout everything because you don't know what the BPA is at that point, but we'll see. Slimbo Boogie, a possible trade with the Jets for 25. It's for 33 and 44 to go get Ty Simpson. Now, I will say I do think that there is some merit to them coming back into the first round for Ty Simpson. Um, but I feel like if they do that, they trade him down from 16. I just don't see a world where they go 3 first round picks. I don't. I feel like if they use 16 in the draft, they're cool with not taking a fifth year option on Ty Simpson, even if they do get him at some point. So we'll see. We'll see. That is intriguing. I just don't think that they'll give up 44 for I feel like if they're gonna give up 33 and 44, I just feel like that it don't make that much sense. It don't make that much sense. I feel like if I gotta give up 44 and 33 just to get back into the first round, fuck his fifth year option. Excuse my French, but I wouldn't give up that much draft capital just for the fifth year option because that's literally all it'll be for. Is to secure that. Because I think if they just stick around at 33, he'll still be available. Um, Paul Martin, I really didn't think CB before round 3 was a need. I think the Bears want flexibility to be able to let Tyreek leave as a free agent and maybe move on from JJ. I agree with 100% of that comment. And that's crazy to say that because I'm very high on JJ. I'm probably higher than most on Tyreek, but I am kind of at the end of my rope with both of them. Like I think at some point last season while we was watching JJ after he came back post injury, I feel like I was very early on in saying he looks slow. He looks so much slower than normal. But I felt like I didn't see just slow. I felt like I seen him not confident. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like I was looking at a different player. And then a little bit later after that, it came out with him saying, I think I need a full offseason to get myself back to the place I want to be. Um, so we'll see. Um, as far as letting Tyreek leave in free agency, I do think that that's probably like the best thing for them, though. I think that that's if letting Tyreek go as an option, they'll probably look to be letting him just walk. Um, and I think this isn't a situation like the DJ Moore situation where a team was trying to pick him up instead of let him go on the market. I think Tyreek, if he doesn't have a good season this year, then I feel like he's really gonna have to kind of go through some of this rebuild process some of these ex Bears went through. And that in itself is a whole different conversation. So you let a lot of these guys walk, with the exception of Kevin Byard. Most of these guys is rebuilding their stock. So we'll see. We will see. Um, Let's see. Going through it. Okay. Well, I think I'm mostly caught up on the comments. Mostly. Um, I really, you know what? Let's instead of going through the top 10, especially because 10 is New York again, let's go through 11 through 20 and see some of these team needs. So first we got the Dolphins. Miami, wide receiver, cornerback, offensive tackle, edge. Offensive tackle and edge is kind of um to me is well obviously those are the needs that kind of they impact our needs a little bit. But for me, I think as far as Miami goes in the draft, y'all basically brought Malik Willis into nothing. So I think that they might go wide receiver here. I think wide receivers are going to go on an early run, so they kind of got to take their picks while they got them, and go from there. I think Dallas, to be honest with you, Dallas is like my biggest. They like my biggest worry as far as the Bears getting sniped in this draft. I just feel like they in such a prime position for it. And it always feels like what we need is what Dallas need. They need an edge, linebacker, safety, and a corner. And I feel like that looks very, very similar to what Chicago needs. Um Actually, I think we scroll up and see, put them on the screen together. We at the bottom, they at the top, or we at the top, they at the bottom. We got one, two, two matching needs to be our major needs. I don't think linebacker is a big need for us, but it'll probably come into play later on in the draft. But Dallas got 12 and 20. And they need an edge and a safety. And that to me, that's where you start looking at Dylan Thieneman, Emmanuel McNeil Warren. You got who Akeem Essador that we've been talking about. Um who are these other edge guys that can go early? Keldrick Falk, maybe Zion Young. Um I don't really think that they're gonna go too deep into the safety bag in the first round. Unless they do get like Thieneman or McNeil Warren or something like that. But we'll see. Paul Martin said I consider Zay Frazier as sort of a 2026 draft pick. You know what? I won't lie, I did the same thing when JJ McCarthy got hurt. Um, I basically was just like, this is his rookie season. He wasn't a part of Caleb's rookie class to me. Like you got hurt in a preseason game and you spent the whole season out. So this is no longer your class. But I kind of say the same thing about that situation. What I'm really intrigued to see though is like where Terrell Smith falls on the Bears ladder for them because I feel like last season he had a really good preseason before he got injured. And he probably was on track to make the team and be a big part of this 53. So you just don't know. You really don't know as far as the CB room goes. But I just don't feel as worried about it as some of these other rooms. I feel like the cornerbacks should be okay. I don't feel like they'll be great per se, but I don't think they'll be like the worst position group on this team up to this point. Who else we got coming in front of us? The Rams, Ravens, Bucks. Those are the next three. So let's see. LA on here. Rams, offensive tackle, wide receiver, cornerback, linebacker. Um, they got the Puka Nakua mess going on right now. But to me, I think they want Matthew Stafford to be as upright as possible. So they probably kick off the offensive tackles in this draft. Um, don't know if it's gonna be Caden Proctor that they kick it off with, but they probably kick off offensive tackles in this draft, and that in itself might make Caden Proctor come off the board before he could fall to us because you still got other teams like Detroit who need offensive tackle help and stuff like that. So we'll see. Paul Martin, Terrell Smith had the same injury Trapio did. Did he? I thought Terrell Smith just had an ACL. I'm almost certain Terrell Smith just had an ACL. Um, Let me see. Now I gotta get my Carfax together. Torn patellar tendon in his left knee. I stand corrected. Paul Martin, thank you for correcting me. That's scary, man. That's huh. That's a person that we've been kind of talking about, not even really realizing that they had the same injury. And that's a name that we talked about a lot as far as what we think they'll look like coming back next season. Now, his injury was during the preseason, so how do that 4-month difference change the timeline for him? I don't know. Um, but that's gotta be a big one for us to have to take a look at too. I know we said Tampa Bay, right? Edge, tight end, linebacker, cornerback. It's a lot of edges that's needed in this first round. It's not enough edges to go around, that's for sure. So we gotta get we gotta get some good game planning here at 25 if we go edge because at 25 when you see all these teams that need edge, like the four teams that are on screen right now, Edge is in their top 4 needs. Seattle, Tampa Bay, Tennessee, and Washington all say edge is one of their bigger needs. So, like, this is why I'm saying, like, the board has to fall a certain way for us because they could just start a run and put us behind the 8 ball before we even get to pick anything. So, gotta go from there. Who else is in front of us? The Lions and Minnesota are both in front of us. The Panthers are in front of us. Still, well, I mean, obviously, mostly everybody's gonna be in front of us, but still, man, we got some ways to go. We got some ways to go and some stuff to figure out at that point. Um, so yeah, that's a lot to consider when you're trying to make these draft picks because it's almost like you're looking at this mock draft and trying to figure out like how accurate is this going to be in comparison to what what actually happens on the day of the draft. And a lot of these mocks they just have trading picks for picks. We might see a person get traded for, I mean, and a player gets traded as part of a package in this draft. So it's a lot of ways that this stuff could shake out, man. We just got to figure it out. We got to figure it out. But I do think the approach of going BPA at 25 probably works out in our favor the best, unless we just see something crazy happen on the board that we're not expecting. Um, I think we just gonna kind of go from there though. But without further ado, we gonna do what we came here to do, which is the third mock draft for the Black Bear podcast. So what we gonna do is this. Um, I'm gonna pull up the mock draft. I'm gonna share my screen. We gonna go through it together. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to make it as inclusive as possible. So I'm gonna go in the comments, and I'll make it to where you guys can vote and help make some of these picks. Um, and while we're going through these picks, we can start looking at player profiles and seeing whether or not if we some of these guys fit. Um, and see if some of these guys is worth drafting. And then at the end, we're gonna see the draft grade. So if y'all got ideas or proposals for trade ups, trade downs, let me know. We're gonna try to see what we'll get off of those trades, if they'll even be accepted, and just go from there. So before I start, what I want to know is what position y'all think the Bears should be looking to add at 25. Not a player or anything like that. Just before we even start taking a look at what the BPA is, what position do you think is most important for the Bears to draft at 25? So if you say safety, drop a 1 in the comments. If you got edge, drop a 2 in the comments. If you got defensive tackle, drop a 3 in the comments. If you got any other position, drop a 4 in the comments so it can update this poll. That's the poll is what I'm going to use while we're going through these mock drafts to represent y'all choices and stuff. That way I don't have to get slowed down going through a million comments. Wesley Downs said defensive end. So you got edge in the draft. So at 25, so we're going to drop a 2 in the chat for Wesley for edge. So Wesley thinks we should go edge at 25. I'm kind of on board with that. But if y'all got some other ideas, let me know. Let me know if y'all think we should trade down from 25, trade up from 25, or if we should stay in that same spot. And then we're gonna kick it off and see what we got to do in this draft. See how this board falls. Let me finish setting it up. And then I'm gonna try to make it a little bit slower too, so we can see how some of these actually, you know what? No, I'm not. I'm gonna keep it on fast. I'm just gonna pause it after maybe 10 picks or so we can see who's who's been taken so far, and whether or not if we at a spot where we feel like we should trade. So we'll go from there. All right. Let's get it. Let's see if I can get my screen shared the right way. And we can go. But that was the wrong screen. Okay. All right, we got it. So many ads. All right, y'all. All right, we at the start of the mock draft. So before we start, so y'all know the Chicago Bears. Oh, you know what? I didn't select my team. So let's redo this. Put it on fast. 7 rounds. Chicago Bears. Okay, cool. Just so y'all know what we working with, we got picks 25, 57, 60, 89, 129, 239, and 241. Okay. Mark Robb said left tackle at 25. You know, you've been standing on that hill for a little minute now. So we gonna put that in consideration too. Even though I know it's only one left tackle you're looking at 25, but we're gonna put that in consideration too. And if he's there, we'll see. We'll see how we do on that board. Okay. Let's see. I should have it ready now. All right. We up. We up. So Wesley, he voted for defensive end. Mark Robb, he voted for left tackle. I know some other comments being put in the comments about other positions and stuff that we need to look at. But let me know what y'all want to do at 25. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and kick it off and start this 2026 mock draft. Let's see. First 10 picks. Okay. No trades in the first 10 picks either. Fernando Mendoza, we already knew that. The Jets took Arvell Reese and left David Bailey for the Cardinals. That's actually kind of interesting because I've been seeing a lot of David Bailey to the Jets. So the fact that they went Reese over Bailey is kind of crazy. Jeremiah Love at 4, Sonny Styles at 5, Cardinal Tate at 6, Ruben Bain at 7, Mansour Delane at 8, Francis Mauinoa at 9, Caleb Downs at 10. So as far as the first 10 picks go, I think it's pretty standard. Like this is pretty much how I expect it to go in the first 10 picks, with the exception of Downs being at 10. I just don't see him falling to 10. I feel like one of these other teams would probably take him before 10. Um, 10 seems kind of low for Downs to me. I feel like um he's a step better than some of these other guys that might get drafted close to him. But from this spot, I don't think we should trade up. I think we either stay where we at or trade down. But for right now, none of the players that I had on my eye on is really going off the board yet. But that's to be expected for the Bears since they're not picking until 25. True Pilgrim, you is late, but you already know your seat at the table is still at the table. Your room is how you left it. Right now we digging into our mock draft. We did talk a little bit about how Dexter Lawrence being traded to the Cincinnati Bengals may affect this draft. Um, so we'll see. We'll see. Mark Robb said Caleb Downs might fall that low. Because safety isn't a premium. That is true. I just feel like I feel like consensus has him just way above the next two guys, which is Thiedemann and EMW. I just feel like consensus is way, way higher on Downs. But all good though. True Pilgrim. Do me a favor. We trying to pick what we doing at 25 in this mock draft. Um, so we doing a poll right now. What position should we draft at 25? If you got safety, type 1 in the chat, edge 2 in the chat, 3 D tack on the chat, 4 any other position. Mark Robb said left tackle. Um, and Wesley said defensive end. He said edge at 25. True Pilgrim said if Downs falls, I'm trading up. He's that good. He is um he is good, but he got taken at 10. So he's off the board for us. That's that double Giants pick now that they didn't trade it. Dexter Lawrence. I mean, traded Dexter Lawrence up out of there. You said we need a D tackle at 25. All right, so for D tackle, I'm gonna drop a 3 in the chat for you so I can add it to the poll. Um, or did I pause the poll? Let me see. Bear Truth said all of the above. Whatever. That's true BPA right there. Bear Truth. Whatever's available at 25, that's the best player out of those positions is I guess what we need. Let me see if this poll updates or did I do something to mess it up? Oh no, I might have messed up the poll. We'll see. I'll fix it. But for right now, we're gonna go we're gonna go and make this next pick up in here. Um well, we ain't even make our picks yet. We're gonna see what 11 through 20 look like. Let's go. Okay, 11 through 20 went, and we had what? The Dolphins end up with back to back picks in a trade. Hold on. Okay. This already threw me off, and we only one trade in. Let me bring myself into the. Hold on. What the hell is this ad? My bad, y'all. Um. Wow. Okay. So 11 through 20. Makai Lemon goes to the Dolphins, and they call Dallas and give them picks 30, 43, and 94 to get pick 12. So Dallas has now got 20 and 30 and 43 in the top 50. And they go up to receive Jermiah McCoy at cornerback at 12. I like Jermiah McCoy for the Dolphins. I like Makai Lemon for the Dolphins. I don't like Dallas, period. But to trade back in from one spot, to me, that tells me you didn't like what the hell you did with the first pick you used. So I don't know how much validity there is in them doing that, but I guess that's that. Monroe Freeland goes to 13. Omar Cooper to Baltimore. That sounds like it makes a lot of sense. Dylan Thieneman, Jordan Tyson, Caleb Lomu goes to the Lions. I think Caleb Lomu at 17 is kind of high, especially with Caden Proctor still being on the board, and they let him fall to the Panthers. See, and this is who Mark Robb wanted. Mark Robb wanted me to pick up Caden Proctor at 25 if he was available. But I feel like the floor for Caden Proctor might be the Panthers. It just feels like that's a mock that's happened so many times since this whole process started. So to see him go to the Panthers, I'm not surprised. I knew the Cowboys is gonna be the ones to snipe us for a player that I wanted. And Akeem Messador, which some of y'all in the chat have been very vocal about not wanting a 25-year-old rookie, even though I feel like this day and age that don't necessarily matter the most. That was an interesting next set though. So before us, we got 4 more teams, and we got a lot of the picks that we talked about being available are still gonna be here, especially when you look at defense. Keldrick Falk, Peter Woods. Now they the top 2 names. Keldrick Falk, Peter Woods, Caden McDonald, they're the top 3 names in defense. In the rest of this draft, 19, 20, and 24. So it's kind of falling the way that I kind of think it is, but we're gonna see. Um, let's see. True Pilgrim said, I want Peter Woods bad. He's Aaron Donald reincarnated. Wesley Downs said Woods. Mark Robb said Woods. It feels like the consensus from the crowd might be Peter Woods. So let's see if he falls to us. Well, before we even finish going in, just looking at how let's look at the full board. They still and Peter Woods is 3, and we only got 4 spots to go. Do y'all say try to sit and see if Peter Woods falls and all out, or do y'all try to move up a few spots to get him? So I wonder what y'all think as far as that goes. At Let's say we at 20, Peter Woods, Caden McDonald, a lot of these other guys that we talked about as being potential second round guys is still on the board, but you look like you might have one good shot at the guy that you want being available for you at 25. So what do y'all want to do? Y'all want to sit and wait? I see y'all say okay. Sitting and waiting is it looks like it's the consensus. Paul Martin, McNeil Warren is still on the board. McNeil Warren is still on the board. I'm not that high on McNeil. But we're gonna see. Next 5 picks, let's go. Before we even start looking at the trades, let's see who went. Oh, Spencer Fano to the Browns. That makes a lot of sense. Keldrick Falk at 22. Because he's an edge and not a D tackle, I kind of see that making sense because Akeem Mesidor already went. Um, Obviously, all of the top 10 guys that you thought was gonna go already went. So maybe they feel like when Akeem Mesidor goes, it's gonna start a run, and you get the next best guy in that spot. Uh, Peter Woods is available though. Peter Woods is available, and it seems like that's a lot of what y'all want. Um, Mark Robb said the Texans got a perfect fit at McDonald. Okay. Bear Truth said, I say trade back a bit when you get to your pick. So that's what we're gonna look at right now. We got offered a few trades up to this point. We're gonna see um we're gonna see what trades was offered, and I guess if we don't like them, Peter Woods more than likely will be the pick. So I like Colton Hood too, though, man. All right, let's go ahead and go through these trade offers and see what we got. Um, Denver offering most of their 27 draft is 62 and 108. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, the reason why I don't like that is because that makes the Bears first pick in this draft 57. And I mean, even though you got 57, 60, then 62, um, I feel like you need one of these difference makers that's 30 plus, um, like draft prospect range. So that's probably not one I would accept. Jacksonville is offering oh wait, and that was just for 25. Jacksonville want me to throw in a draft pick from next year, and they'll give a 56, 81, 88, and a second from next year. That's kind of intriguing. And the only reason why is because that'll give you 56, 57, 60, 81, 88, and 89. That's a ton of picks in the top 100. Um, That's kind of intriguing, but again, I just don't wanna start that low. Don't wanna start that low. So, Paul Martin said more edges might go off the board between 25 and 57. I absolutely agree. Defensive tackles like Grayson Holton, I'm assuming that's supposed to mean, or Dominique Orange might go or might be there at 60. I do feel like both of those statements are true. True Pilgrim, I like Christian Miller, but his lack of production worries me. Clemson changed their defensive coordinator last season, so that's why Wood struggled. Right now, I've been hearing that a lot too, as far as like the way that they've been using some of these guys in Clemson. Clemson kind of fell off. Um, wow, yeah, Mark Robb, the Jags is they giving house. Whoever the hell they want at 25 got to be crazy. Um, yeah, man. Pose his ass in the third round though. But I won't lie, Poe. We talked about that a few times on the show too, as far as Poe's and a draft round that he hasn't necessarily been able to nail. So that's definitely one of them. Let me check these off. These hoes is making my ears hurt. Them headphones be squeezing my head a little. But um let's see. The Jags, they sent a big haul, but no, I need something higher than 56. Actually, to be honest with you, if I'm trading out of 25, I want something higher than like 45. Honestly, like 45, I probably wouldn't even go for. It'd probably need to be like 42 is the floor that I want to trade back in. And would you look at that? 45's on the board. 25, you get 45, 115, and Baltimore's second rounder from next year. 2027 draft is supposed to be good. So them next year draft picks, they worth something, but it is what it is. Now I'll say this before I go in here and select Peter Woods, which it seems like a lot of y'all were high on, because this might be your only this. Well, let's not make it seem like might. This would be your only opportunity to get him at 25, where you're picking. He is the BPA according to this list. So y'all that wanted to go BPA, Peter Woods kind of fell in y'all lap. Y'all that just like Peter Woods kind of got the pick that y'all want. But do you propose a trade from this spot, or do you try to say there's other players of this caliber that I'm willing to take at a different spot? What do y'all want to do? I think what Mark Rob is saying as far as going Peter Woods, I think I might pull that. Um, Even though it is some second round guys that I do believe in they talent too. I just I didn't get offered that spot that I liked to trade back to. So that's kind of why I'm moving towards picking Woods right here. But I don't know. Maybe somebody propose a trade idea. If you're gonna trade down from 25 right here, propose a trade package that you would want back for 25 to move down in this draft. And we'll propose it and see the likelihood on whether or not if it'll get accepted. Don't know whether or not if we gonna fully go through it, but we'll see. We'll see what the points look like, and then we'll make our pick after that. Um, Mark Rob said I would have traded for Dex, but it's over with. Yeah, but him going for a 10th overall pick, I couldn't get behind that. You already know I wasn't gonna get behind that. When it comes to this type of stuff, I be cheap. So I don't know. Okay, let's see. We got some ideas in here. Paul Martin said offer New England 25 for 31 and 95. I can almost guarantee you they'll take that. Um Wesley said Arizona second and third or fourth. So we're gonna put those in and see what the draft points look like real quick. Propose a trade. Let's go with New England first. We'll give you 25. We'll take 31 and 95 from you. Oh, so it's saying that they'll want something back. This is an even trade, though. Value offered the exact same. And you know what? As a trade, I wouldn't be too mad about this trade. I like that trade. I like this, like in terms of value, giving up 25 and taking back 31 and 95. So the Bears will have 31, 57, 60, 89, 95, and 129. They'll have I like that. I like that as a package. And to be honest, like before I even go through with these, I think that that's one that more than likely will get accepted. I don't know why they said that it was close instead of accept, like why it was yellow instead of green. Even though it's a 50-50. I don't. As a team that's getting a higher draft pick, I don't feel like they need more compensation than that. So we'll see. He said, "If you do this and you miss out on Woods, you're fired." No, I like taking Woods in this spot though. Like I said, I didn't get offered a package that I want, and my thing about putting together a trade package myself is y'all seen what the Jags was offering. They was offering a house for 25. So if I'm going to do a trade, I'm trying to fleece somebody like they was just trying to fleece themselves. Wesley said Arizona second and a third or fourth. So if we go to Arizona, give them 25, they're at 34, which I like that spot. And then let's just say 143. Well, not 143, 104. 104. That's surprisingly, that's a lot less value than I thought it would be. I thought that was pretty close to being even. 25 for 34 and 104. Um, because that's really close to what we was just talking about with New England. At least in that top pick, 31 and 95. Shit, that's better. And the points offer drastically different. They value in these draft picks at completely different points. Mark Rob, it looked like a lot of these people want us to trade back. Well, we see him, but is Shamar Turner and Mix at defensive tackle or defensive end? Paul Martin, the answer to your question is yes to both because he's gonna play both. Now, how much he plays both, I don't know. I feel like if it was, you know, they was working with my brain, I would think that they probably would use him more at defensive end more. That kind of looked like what they was going for towards the part of the season before he got injured. But we'll go from there. As far as Turner coming back, I think it's gonna kind of be a mixed bag with him, but I think he gonna kind of find a home in that edge room. Um, Especially if they do what I'm finna do, which is take Peter Woods at 25. I do feel what some of y'all saying in terms of trading back and getting another pick. Um, I don't I would see, like, if I'm trading down from 25, I want a package like this or this, where they giving up a lot. And like, for example, with this, we got to give up a fourth, but a second next year is gonna be crazy good value. Um, I just don't want to move all the way back to 56. But see, if they were up here in like the 30s, they probably would take that second from next year off the board too. So um I think at 25, we probably gonna stay where we at though. We not gonna overcomplicate things. Um, yeah, we're not gonna overcomplicate things. We're gonna go Peter Woods at 25. That was the original consensus, so we just gonna stay there. I was trying to see how some of this other stuff shook out. I'm gonna pause it real quick and just see who went after us. We took Peter Woods at 25. Denzel Boston went right after. Blake Miller, Maxi Hunachor, Zion Young to the Chiefs. I'm not surprised about that. What was this trade? The Texans. Oh, they traded up to 23 to get McDonald, and they gave away 28 and 69. Um, this is part of that trade that they had. So damn, they get Colton Hood and Emmanuel McNeil Warren. That's kind of crazy. Ain't gonna lie. If the if the if the Cowboys get Colton Hood and EMW, I feel like from across the way, I'm gonna be a little bit salty. No cap. No cap. No cap. I feel like I'm gonna be a little bit salty if um if they end up doing something like that. Paul Martin said, "Don't clown me, but don't forget we gave Gallimore a 6 million a year, and he can get to the quarterback, sort of." Well, I ain't gonna clown you, Paul Martin, because I'm gonna tell you right now, you know more about Gallimore than I do. So I need you to educate me at some point on what the hell we actually paid $6 million for, because and as it stands, I currently don't know. I gotta go do some research. Like what's his name? B Sam. Um Wesley says Street might surprise as well. Yeah, see, a lot of these depth pieces, I just don't know them. I don't know them, but I do know that depth last year was a big part of this team for us. So I want my depth to be able to come in here and be some hitters, but shit, somebody's got to be depth. Everybody can't be the one to get paid. So we're gonna see. Um Kitus, I don't know. Correct my pronunciation on that. But he said McNeil Warren at 43 is a steal. I feel you, except that whole dream died because he went. Oh no, they got him at 43. Damn, that was oh, I'm scrolled up. My bad. 43 for McNeil Warren. Yeah, no, that's good draft value. Now, if 25, that's a different story. I feel like that's that's higher than what I want it to be for sure. I'm not willing to get him at 25, but if they traded down and was able to pull him at 43, I'm not mad at that. Holy shit. I just seen a pick go that I did not like. So we gonna have to do some work when it come to our turn here. We gonna see though. Um Colton Hood goes, Casey Concepcion goes, Jacob Rodriguez to Seattle. I really, really like that for them. Brandon Cisse to the Jets makes a ton of sense. They didn't take they didn't take your boy. They said fuck that quarterback. I guess I guess Aaron Glenn gonna get out there and throw the ball. So yeah, True Pilgrim. I just seen that too, and that's why it kind of just ruined my mood a little bit. But we gonna we gonna figure something out when we get down there. Traden Stukes going at 39, man. D'Angelo Pons at 35, Avion Terrell at 34. Kind of a small run on DBs after Colton Hood went at 30. Um Christian Miller to the Giants. So they got Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, and Christian Miller. They said, fuck that help for Jackson Dart. But man, that's a good haul. That's more than a good haul. Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs and Christian Miller is crazy. I'll be very I won't be surprised if they use both 5 and 10, but you can get a lot of value trading out of that 10 if you really get what you want at 5. So we'll see. Emmanuel Pregnon goes. Traden Stukes, probably one of my favorite draft players up to this point. He goes to the Browns. I really don't like that. Keith Abney, Gabe Jacques goes to the Bengals with Dexter Lawrence. Now, Gabe next to Dex, that's a good combo. That's a good fucking combo. Yeah, he said the Giants went nuts. The Giants did go nuts in this mock draft. That's like this shit from what some of these teams is putting together is kind of, I don't want to say intimidating because I ain't intimidated by none of these motherfuckers, but intimidating was the right word to use though. Let's see. Arizona gets Ty Simpson after they traded up to get him. They get pick 42. They give up 65 and 143 and they second round from next year to trade up for him. I guess they wanted to get in front of the Jets 2 picks later, but we'll see. I guess the Jets, they got Arvell Reese, Jordan Tyson, Brandon Cisse, CJ Allen. That's not a bad haul. That's not a bad haul. Now, the quarterback situation, Aaron Glenn was just talking Aaron Glenn was just talking crazy like Geno Smith was going to win them the chip this year. But hey, the Jets, they got to know some shit I don't know because they working in a way that I just don't understand. Um, But hey, you gotta. I guess you gotta lay in the bed that you make. So on to the next one. Mark Rob said, hit that like button and subscribe. Yes, we made our goal of 800 subs today. If you're not subbed, make sure you hit that sub button. Make sure you hit that notification icon because we already on the road to 900. We celebrated. You might have missed the celebration. It was only 3 seconds, but we on to the next goal. We got bigger and better things to do, and we got the next one right in front of us. So 900 on the way. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and get in here for the next one. Um, Paul Martin said Derek Moore, Keontae Scott at 57. I like both of those picks at 57. We still got 10 more picks ahead of us, which is why I paused it right here to see who went. TJ Parker is gone. He was the last one to go. Let's just go through this real quick. We got Peter Woods, so D tackle, we probably not doubling up there, or at least not twice back to back. So we're gonna skip over Lee Hunter. Let's look at safeties first. We got AJ Halsey, Genesis Smith, Kamari Ramsey, Jalen Kilgore, Bud Clark, Zakee Wheatley. A lot of these guys that we already talked about on here. Traden Stukes was in the CBs. He already went. Keontae Scott is the next highest rated CB in this draft, even though he's the 62nd best player according to this draft. Everybody ahead of him went already. We got 10 more spots to hope he makes it to us if we want to get him. Anthony Hill still on the board. A linebacker, that's not necessarily a big need for us. So we don't really got to talk about that one too much. Malachi Lawrence, Cassius Howell, R. Mason Thomas, Joshua Josephs, denied Dennis Sutton, Derek Moore, Romello Height. All these guys are going ahead. All these guys are available for us as it stands. But we got 10 picks left. We got 10 picks left. And we got some teams that need a fucking edge in front of us. So do we stay at 57 or do we try to move up? And do we try to move up and give away 57 or give away 60? Try to move up from here and secure one of these guys, or how do y'all want to do this? What do y'all think we should do? I see some people saying Malachi Lawrence in the comments. Paul Martin said the good defensive tackles will probably last longer than defensive ends or safeties. You know what? That's a good take because I think the same is true. I think some of these defensive tackles like Grayson Halton, Christian Miller, some of these guys, let's just go and see who's available. Caleb Banks, Dominique Orange, Lee Hunter, Caleb Proctor, um, Darrell Jackson. I feel like some of them went a little bit earlier than I would expect them to, but I do think I do think defensive tackle is gonna be kind of still be on the board for us a little bit. I think the way that they talk about edge rushers, they try to kind of put everybody in one group. Like they try to say all these players are as good as the next guy. So we'll see. I'm seeing some stay puts in the comment. Wesley said, wait. Kida said stay put. Paul Martin said, do we trade a second or third for Kayvon Thibodeau? I think Mark Robb and Chef West would probably say hell no. You stay where you at. But I think I'm probably gonna get on that board with him. What I learned from this draft, if I haven't learned anything else, is you can't avoid having the homegrown talent. You need to have guys that you were able to get on the cheaper contracts and not keep putting yourself in a position where money matters every year, and or else you end up like the Bengals. Prime example. But that's neither here nor there. I'm tired of having to close out these ads every 30 seconds. But the consensus says stick where we at, no trade ups, no trade downs. Mark Robb said a lot of value. I'd stay there. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna stay here. We're gonna see how this board falls. Let's scroll, see where we at. Oh boy, I've seen some people that we would like already fall off. All right, so we left off on TJ Parker, Chris Bell, AJ Hawsey, Genesis Smith. The safeties went on a slight run. Kamari Ramsey goes. Lee Hunter goes to Green Bay. We didn't trade up, but somebody did. The Seahawks, they've been playing this drive really aggressive. Traded up, traded out of 64 and 96 to get to 53 and take Malachi Lawrence off the board. So they got Jacob Rodriguez and Malachi Lawrence, but they traded is that they only trade? I thought they had another pick that they might have gave away. No, well, they had 32, but I guess they didn't have another one before that. Antonio Williams, Jennings Dunker, Josiah Trotter all go. So at edge, we got Cassius Howe, R. Mason Thomas, Joshua Josephs, denied Dennis Sutton. At safety, we got Jalen Kilgore, Bud Clark, Zakee Wheatley, Lewis Moore, Michael Taft. At CB, we got one that actually matters, at least to me, which is Keontae Scott. And linebacker that don't really matter for us either. Actually, I think in that whole run, only Josiah Trotter was taken off the board from the linebackers. He was. He was the only linebacker that came off this list. So that was interesting. Malachi Lawrence gone. J2K, thank you for joining in. Welcome to the show. You'll see this the same way you left it. J2K said, are we winning the offseason again? Well, as it stands right now, we only made one draft pick, which was Peter Woods. So as of right now, I'd call that a win. But some of these other teams, they've been cooking. It's been going trade crazy, and we just been on the outside looking in. Paul Martin said Cassius Howe or denied Dennis Sutton at 57. Keontae Scott is a jack of all trades. I like Keontae Scott. Wait, I just missed another comment. Oh, Mark Robb said move to 58. So let me put the trade back up there in case any of y'all didn't see it. San Francisco offered to move up one spot and give up 127 in the process. And they'll take our 6 from next year. I'm cool with moving back one spot, but I don't want 127. Y'all don't got shit. Well, they don't got nothing else that's more intriguing than that. They don't pick again until 127. So they willing to not pick again until 133. But damn, they draft stop at 139 though. Okay. Well, I guess they don't really got too much to offer. But okay. See, I mean, I guess I'm cool with making that trade. You get an extra pick just to move up. I mean, move back a pick, and we got, we got different guys that we would go for here. So, who do y'all think they're gonna take at 20 at 58 though? Just paying attention to the team needs. They got offensive tackle, edge, wide receiver, and CB. So maybe they come in and take one of the guys that we want. Maybe Keontae Scott's no longer available for us. Maybe they go and get Cassius Howe from under our nose, but we will see. Man, I wish they draft picks was more intriguing than that. Let's see. All they had so far was Blake Miller. So we'll accept it. We'll accept it, even though I was trying to figure out a way to fleece them. I kind of don't want to give up shit from next year though. Oh, they really, really want that 6th round pick from next year. They really want the 6th round pick from next year. But they're not willing to get, okay. So I guess I'll accept it as is because I don't really got a choice. J2K Stooks went to the Browns at 39. So we were well well out of play for Stooks. Wesley said they'll take Keontae Scott off the board. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. Mark Robb said keep the 6th round pick from next year. They not accepting this if I don't give them that 6th round pick. Yeah, that's a crazy difference in value off of the 6th round pick. Um First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. We got all our picks from next year? I thought we was missing a pick from next year. Okay. Or you know what? I might have messed that up in one of my mock drafts. I might have traded a pick from next year away. I don't know. We'll see though. We'll see. I'm trying to figure out the reason why I haven't accepted it yet is because I'm just trying to figure out what ways we can get more value out of this trade. Because they picks from this year really don't do shit for us. But it ain't really no way we can get too much more value out of this trade. So that's the trade that they want. We're gonna accept it. Let me read a few more of these comments and see what y'all have to say. Take Cassius out if you don't want to trade. We need an edge. We don't have a 5th due to the Bradbury. I thought it was something like that. I thought it was something like that, but according to this, we got a 5th, I think. Oh no, I just can't fucking read. My bad, y'all. My bad. My bad, player. We're gonna accept the trade. We're gonna accept it and see who they take. Jeremy Bernard, cool. We don't give a single fuck. We don't care at all. We don't care at all. So now we on the clock at 58. Cassius Howe, R. Mason Thomas, they're both still on the board. Keontae Scott still on the board. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm probably gonna go edge first. I'm gonna see what y'all got to say. Howie, my brother, what's good? Round 1 for the Bears, I took Peter Woods. The first round went a little bit crazy though. J2K said I like Kerryon Crawford as an edge, but next round. Wesley says Scott is the starter safety, and you know what? Before I even make the pick, I'm gonna say this. I want y'all to look at something real quick on this board. Jalen Kilgore, Bud Clark, Zakee Wheatley. Those are the top 3 safeties, right? We haven't gotten our guy yet, but Keontae Scott is basically top CB on this list, and we already know why we want him. Nickel hybrid, comparable stat line or comparable productivity to Traden Stooks, if not a little bit better. Similar play style though. I think Traden Stooks is just a little bit bigger. To me, this is the spot where like this is the floor for you to get a safety. It could be the 57 or 60, but you cannot lose out on both Keontae Scott and Traden Stooks and then just try to go one of these other guys later, especially like if AJ Halsey's off the board like he was. I think Bud Clark is still here, but I'm not really too interested in Jalen Kilgore or Zakee Wheatley for that matter. Out of this list, I probably would have Bud Clark as my 3rd option, or my first option out of these 3. But I would like the versatility of a Keontae Scott or a Trader Stooks. J2K said I really like Julian Neal at cornerback. Let's go to Julian Neal stuff real quick. Let's see. Julian Neal, senior out of Arkansas, 6'2", 203 pounds. Let's look at his traits. Okay, well, the one thing to say he lacking from this, or at least in comparison to the other stuff that he's good at, is ball production. Not as good as with his ball skills as he is an athlete. As y'all can see, blue chip when it comes to play recognition, angles, agility. explosive, good size. Ball skills is probably the one thing. Ball skills and technique, the two things that aren't necessarily his biggest forte out of all of this stuff. But everything else in terms of athleticism, it looked like he kind of check out in. Testing and comps, let's see. 9.2 RAS. That's actually pretty good. That's actually pretty good. Yeah, why don't he do he did he not run a 40, y'all? Oh, 4.49 40-yard dash. So 48th percentile in the 40-yard dash for his position. But he's got a 40-inch vertical, 11-foot 2-inch broad jump. That's actually kind of crazy. That's actually kind of crazy. Okay. Julian Neal, not that bad. Now we were looking at Trader Stukes. His RAS is a 9.95. So 9.27 um puts him at 14th in terms of rank with his RAS, but that's still a pretty good number. That's still a pretty good number. So let's see, what do the comments say? Y'all comments is coming in kind of fast. So if I'm talking slow or whatever, I'm switching back between screens. So bear with me. Um, Woods and Cassius Howard would be huge upgrades. Howie said number 122 is Kyle Lewis, linebacker, but really a safety. That's crazy. True Pilgrim said they like Kyle Lewis too. We can probably get him in the third round. Wesley said Neal is an outside guy. Yeah, like if you get somebody like Julian Neal, that don't got that, that nickel versatility, that safety versatility, whatever, that probably spells very close to the end, if not the end, for one Tyreek Stevenson. Giles said, pull up who? Kyle Lewis from Pittsburgh. 6 feet, 220. So if he does play a safety spot, he gonna be kind of a bigger safety back there. Round 3 projection. Traits. Okay, so in terms of his traits go, just looking at the chart, it looked like for the most part he kind of well-rounded. His size score, um, his size score ain't really high though, and his passer. So I wonder if he might. I wonder what that says in terms of his ability in like the run game and run stopping and stuff like that. If his pass rushing is as low as it is on here, he's got good coverage skills according to this though. Good coverage, explosive player, got some good athleticism. Um, Not the best rusher, not the best tackler. Um, and it says he's kind of undersized. Play strength is on the lower side too. How is he undersized at 220? Is it just off of his height? 220, second percentile. Well, I guess that's if you're comparing them to fucking linebackers, right? Because y'all just said he would play some at safety. Um, 220s is small, I guess. So his stuff is gonna be a little bit harder to diagnose from that point because then you got to try to cross reference it with other positions and stuff. J2K said, I think Lewis is more of a big nickel than a nickel back. Okay. Um, let's see. Paul Martin said, don't need a pure CB here. One that can play safety or, in my humble opinion, hellacious kick returner like Azuma, Hester, or Manning. Yeah, okay. Howie said no need for safety at 57 to 60. Okay, we starting to have some differences of opinions over here. Um, okay, y'all giving Nicky Manwari comps for this Lewis kid. So maybe we see. Um True Pilgrim said if we keep him at linebacker, he needs to bulk up. Um yeah, but if they do get somebody like that, they gotta, especially this high in the draft, maybe they plan ain't really to use him as linebacker. I don't think y'all getting somebody Well, y'all did say he was a third round projection, so maybe we'll see. We'll see. They say Cam Lewis can't play deep. See, I don't think Cam Lewis is gonna be. I think Cam Lewis is gonna be like he's staying that corner, bro. I don't think there's as much versatility there as people think. But at 58, what we doing, y'all? I I say, in my humble opinion, Cassius Howell, or Keontae Scott. Cassius Howell or Keontae Scott. So let's do this. I'm gonna try to fix this time and not mess it up. Well, I guess we don't even really need to do all that because we do got a pick in two spots, right? So which do we take first? Do we take Edge first or do we get Keontae Scott while he's on the board? I see True Pilgrim say Cassius Howell. Um Howell is a great pass rusher, but I doubt DA likes the fit. Um See, Cassius Howell is another one of those short arm players that people talk about a lot, but it's like production is production, bro. It's production is production. The man had 27 sacks, three forced fumbles, a pick, and 15 deflections from the edge in 49 games. 15 batted passes in 49 games is kind of crazy. Um, Don Burr said Detroit versus everybody. I like your energy, but it's up for y'all last when we see y'all when the season starts. So don't even worry about that too much, buddy. No cap. No cap. Wesley said Derek Moore. Paul Martin said take Scott first. Denied in the Sutton is still there. So he said take Sutton at 60. How can't Okay. All right. I'm with y'all. I think okay. At first I was kind of flip floppy. I said Cassius Howell first, but there is only one versatile cornerback left in this draft for us to use. And as much as y'all saying other people could fill in this safety spot, I feel like Keontae Scott or Traden Stukes gives DA a weapon more than it just does fill a spot for us that we need. So I'm thinking Keontae Scott here. That's probably gonna be the pick. Um Man, okay. Backup plan and trading Stooks. What you think of a combo of 89 for Kyle Lewis and round 5 Jalen Husky? I don't know too much about Jalen Husky, but I know how he is the draft prospect historian. So we'll see. Some of y'all saying who y'all would like better at edge. I'm gonna tell y'all who I like better at safety. Keontae Scott, because that's who I just picked. Um then we got two trade offers, 60 to go down to 92 and 94 from Dallas. Dallas been trading their ass off this whole draft. Dallas been trading their ass off this whole draft. And then Indiana is saying they'll give up 78 and two draft picks from next year to move up to 60. And they want 239 back. We're not giving y'all that. Damn, Mike Washington went to damn. Houston just been cooking. Houston kind of cooked. We gonna see how many. I mean, some of these other teams and they picks because I think some of these other teams cook too. But all right, let's see. Mark Ross said Cassius Howell need an edge. Don't complicate it, fam. Just take Howell here. Oh no, see, I knew Howell was gonna probably still be available. Keontae Scott, I doubted that shit was gonna be available, so that was kind of why I went that way. Cassius Howell though, at 60, I think that might be the pick. Let's just see what's the BPAs that they got here. Most of this stuff don't really apply to us unless somebody want to go Sam Hecht in the second round and say fuck Garrett Bradbury, but I don't know about all that. Let's see. J2K said, Mark Robb, I think Howell is one of the best pure pass rushers in this draft. I just doubt if he fits DA's scheme. Um, Cassius Howell probably only plays 33% of snaps. Well, shit, as much yeah, you want somebody that's gonna play more than 33% of snaps if you draft them in the second round. But Dennis Allen and this Bears team already look like they super committed to this edge rush by committee shit. So, who's left at edge? Let's see. Edge. R. Mason Thomas, Cassius Howe, Joshua Josephs, Denied Dennis Sutton, Derek Moore, Romello Height, LT Overton. I'm not gonna go past LT Overton because I really, really don't like him. So anybody worse than him, I'm probably not gonna be in on. Um I think Derek Moore is probably the four for me. So we gonna look at this part of the list right here. Cassius Howell, R. Mason Thomas, Joshua Joseph, Denied Dennis Sutton, Derek Moore. Um, that's who's left. I like Derek Moore. Howie said DDS over Cassius Howell. Let's see. Let's see. Let's look at Denied Dennis Sutton stuff real quick. Because the bottom line is if we don't take an edge here, there's a chance we get to 89 and either Derek Moore or Denied Dennis Sutton is available to us. But some of y'all are saying y'all like Dennis Sutton over Cassius Howell, and I want to know why. So let me know in the comments why y'all feel like he's better. Um, they say he has no bend. He has no bend, pause. But he does have a motor, just not flexible. This is not flexible, not I mean, no not poor hand usage for Denied Dennis Sutton in terms of his traits. Testing and comps, how the fuck do you have a 9.96 RAS, but you have no flexibility? That I do not get. You just said he has no bend, but he has a 9.96 out of 10 RAS. That's crazy. That's kind of crazy. Um, as a 420, who is the third edge off the bench? Turner, Hardy, or Street? Well, we don't know what Kentavia Street looked like, so I don't know if he ranks 3. But you got it'll probably shit. It would have been Dominique Robinson, right? I don't think it's Daniel Hardy either. I'm probably betting it would be Shamar Turner if those the 3 you're choosing from. Um, um, J2K said if DA would play How at SLB, strong side linebacker. And situational pass rusher, that would be dope. Keeps him on the field all 3 downs. True Program said I like Dennis Sutton, but he's a little raw compared to How. Wesley Moore has huge upside. He'd be an edge 3 or 4 anyway. Some y'all saying go with How, some y'all saying go with DDS. Y'all are very conflicted on DDS though. Some of y'all saying he's got first round traits, but he also a bit of a project. Howie, the historian. Howie the historian. They are opposites. DDS is a run stuffer. Think of him as a dire replacement where it catches how tiny little girl arms. Thugs versus the run. Just 33% snaps. Well, we know who Howie don't like. Howie does not like Cassius Howe. Maybe Howie and Howell is too close for him. Um, Paul Martin said this is why I would have gone edge in round 1, defensive tackle in 2 or 3. You know what? I'm not mad at it, but I'll tell you this, Paul Martin, the only edge I would have taken at 25 in round one probably would have been Akeem Messidor or Zion Young, which neither one of those guys was available to us. I think they both got picked up before 25. So that's the sucky way about having to work the way that the way that the board falls because you know what, as far as what my takes is on the Bears in this draft goes, I'll give it at the end of this mock draft. Howie said, Marcus, this is or mixed it. Mixed it. This is why you got to trade down from round one into 2 picks and get Malachi Lawrence. I tried, Howie. I tried. They wasn't giving me no good ones. Mark Rob said you fired if you take Zion Young at 25. No, I wouldn't have took him at 25. If I would have traded down and he was available, I probably would have still tried to play for it. But at 25, I wanted Messidor. I mean, I already told you who I wanted at 25, 3 picks I wanted, but Messidor was going at like 19 or some shit. So we'll see. Paul Martin said, call the Jets, offer them 60 for defensive end, Will McDonald. That's kind of okay. 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 Let's see. Let's see. I don't know if they even gonna do that because they was just kind of going crazy. They was just kind of going crazy. But I want to see. Oh, it's that's a straight up overpay. A straight up overpay. Wow. The overpay to give them 60 for Will McDonald is kind of crazy. If that's the value for that, I would just take Cassius Howell. What flavor do you like between Cassius Howell and DDS? Um, in this scenario, I'm gonna I'm gonna say I like Howell. I think, yeah, Hal probably got shorter arms or whatever, but see, I want somebody that can play 3 fucking downs too, man. That's the hardest part about this because DDS, he'll play 3 downs, he just won't be as good at rushing the passer, and that's what I want. I want somebody that can rush the passer. I feel like defensive tackles, they have to clog up that middle and make it hard to run the ball. So, J2K said Hal is better in 3-4, 4-3 for DDS. Oh, okay. Howie. See, you know what, Howie? When I came in here and when I seen that they had made sure that the draft picks and all that stuff was up to date, I figured all of that stuff would be up to date too. So this is a little bit of a learning process for me as well. Um, Mark Robb said DDS not playing 3 downs. See, I don't really. That's my thing. Is hmm. Paul Martin said, remember, we aren't looking to put Sweat or Booker on the bench. We're looking for a sidekick for this season. See, well, first of all, you're looking for more than for this season because they're gonna be on the rookie deal, so they're gonna be here for a while. But I think some of these people are trying to put Booker on the bench, so to say, so to speak. Um, I think some people want Booker to be replaced with a better edge rusher, and I just think that I think if Booker was your third, I would like that, but who's gonna be in front of him? Is any of these guys good enough to be in front of Book? Um, Sweat and Turner can rotate, and Booker and Moore can rotate. Strong edge, setter, faster, fast rush. Booker and Dial gonna have something to say about that. Yeah. So okay. Howie said. Howie said start over and propose a trade to the Jets in round one. When we get to the end of this, Howie, we gonna review the whole board so you can see how some of these trades went because you missed how the first round went. It was crazy. Um, but yeah, I'm still on a Cassius Howell train. At least me and Mark Rob on the same page with most of this stuff. Some of y'all might not like some of the picks I'm finna make. But he said if DA didn't have his head up about or have his head up his ass about oversized defensive ends, I draft Hal. I'm drafting Howie. I'm not pro You know what? Maybe next time I'll propose a few trades or something. But this time I'm really trying to see what comes to me on some of these. God damn, look at all of these trades. They is going crazy. And I didn't even get to pause at that time to see. And Derek Moore pops at the top of the fucking list. Or at least for edges he did. Let's see what's happened since we last picked. At 60, we got Cassius Howe. Skylar Bell went to LA. Oscar Delp goes. Anthony Hill Jr. goes in a trade with the Bucks. The Bucks moved up to 63. They gave away 77, 116, and 195. 77 turned into Connor Lou. I'm not mad at this draft for the most part because I can see a lot of some of this stuff happening. These trades has been going crazy this draft. The Cardinals move up to take Ty Simpson at 42. They gave away 65 and 143. Oh, we seen that one earlier. Let's see who else went. Jadarian Prince went to the Browns. Caleb Banks goes to the Titans. But Clark goes to the Dolphins. Grayson Holton went 84. That would have been a good defensive tackle pickup too. Denied Dennis Sutton didn't go until 87. So for y'all that wanted me to take DDS, he went 2 spots before we would have picked again. But as it stands right now, we got Peter Woods, Keontae Scott, and Cassius Howell as the Bears' first 3 picks in this draft. Howie said R. Mason Thomas is better than Howell. Let's see. Bye Ted Hall of Fame Hurst. How will make an impact this year? That's what I want. I want somebody that's a high impact player this year. Paul Martin said maybe Jalen Kilgore, Sam Hecht. I believe he's already gone. Malik Muhammad, he's still on the board at 89. 127 equals no brainer. Get Landon Robinson. You've been talking about Landon Robinson for like a good 2 weeks, Howie. And I've been hearing his name come up on other Bears podcasts and stuff too. So that's kind of interesting. I had started doing a little bit of research about Landon Robinson after we had that mock draft. I don't think Kyle Lewis is still available. Oh, wait. No, I don't think I said his name, actually. Kyle Lewis is still available. And in this draft, his rank is 122. So there's a slight chance he may be available when we go again. Right now we're at 89. We feel defensive tackle, we feel edge, we feel corner / safety. Keontae Scott coming on. Not necessarily saying Keontae Scott will play safety. Maybe that spot will go to one Kyler Gordon. And Keontae spot moves into that nickel spot. We don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Mark Robb said, can we get a safety? We can still go in here and get a safety. Howie said we got a trade right here. True Program says Bryce Lance or Zachariah Branch at this spot. Paul Martin said is Bryce Lance available. Bryce Lance is available. Second rank next to Parker Brailsford. So if we don't take him, he'll be gone. Malik Muhammad will probably be gone too, but he's a CB. We probably don't need to take another outside. Well, we didn't take an outside corner, but do we need to take an outside corner in this spot? Do we even need to take a wide receiver in this spot? We had heard some stuff about Zachariah Branch other than being a nuisance on the side of the street and getting some stupid charges against him. Looking at his stuff, not Well, obviously a big dip on the size score. Um, Blocking ain't necessarily one of his strong suits. Route running not necessarily one of his strong suits, but he got good hands, good agility. At least according to this, blue chip and explosiveness, agility, long speed. Excuse me. Good hands, good instincts. Probably needs to clean up his route running. Not as physical. Size score really low. Really low for size score. Oh, 5'8", 177. Yep, that'll do it. That's like some Slim Reaper stuff you got going on over there. But 4.35, 40-yard dash time, almost 10 and a half foot broad jump. 20 reps on a bench press for somebody that's his size. That's low key kind of strong. His ass just probably need to block. um, so that's what we looking at with that. Howie said trade down to 109, get Landon Roberts, 111, Kendrick Law, 115, Kyle Lewis. Branch is a yak guy. J2K says, I think 89 is where Ben Johnson takes wide receiver Deshaun Stribling. Kid blocks tall with speed. I think if you find a player that checks all those boxes, that might be exactly what he's looking for in Ben Johnson. But Deshaun Stribling is 150 on this board. So we got a few picks before him if we want to go him. Bryce Lance, let's look at his stuff real quick, but then I'm gonna start looking at safeties, stuff of actual need. Um, but no, well, fast and explosive is what I'm seeing from his stuff. And his scores are pretty different. Like his stuff, and he got a really, really high RAS score, 9.95. Quick 40-yard time. One of those, I don't want to test guys though, but what can you do in this day and age? J2K said he talking in real life on Stribling. What do you think Stribling is gonna go if Ben Johnson don't take him at 89, where do you think his draft position is gonna be at? Let's see. So I'll see a few of y'all coming up with names that we can get later. We still kind of got to do a little bit of work for the now. So let's look at defense real quick. Safety. Now, here's the thing about safety. We didn't necessarily take one, and we could move one of our nickel hybrids to a safety spot. But we kind of still need a part. We need a body in there too, because I think last year we had 4. Picking one up in the draft only give us 3. So we definitely do need to possibly look at double dipping at safety, or getting one safety and getting one of these versatile nickel hybrid guys like a Keontae Scott or a Traden Stukes if they fall to us. If that's the case, then I'm cool with taking a safety later on. I'm cool with probably taking a safety a little bit later, like our 120th pick or something, or maybe we trade down and get some extra value. Because I don't think the person that we get in this spot at safety has got to be somebody that's going to be like a great starter safety right away. We need somebody to put some depth back into that room. How we said, click on Jalen Husky. I didn't see Husky's name, but I'll look it up. Jalen Husky, 192 on this board. Let's see. Traits, prospect grade, 75. Good processor. He kind of just seemed pretty well rounded. Is kind of what I'm getting out of his trait scores. Testing and comps, RAS score 7 out of 10. Oh well, you didn't do the on-field test or whatever. Pro day stuff. That's what I'm looking for. 40-yard dash 4.55. 36 and a half inch vertical jump, broad jump 10-1. Okay, so not the best, but not terrible either. So True Program says Scott is our safety. Yeah, but that safety room still need another body in there. We just got three in there, including Scott. So if you got Keontae Scott, Kobe Bryant, Elijah Hicks, that's your front three, and then you need another one to have some more depth in that room. They'll roll with at least four. They'll roll with at least four. They'll probably roll with exactly four this upcoming season. So we'll see. Um, let's see. So what position do we go from here? We got defensive tackle, cornerback slash safety, and edge at 89. Mind you, we also picked up 127. So we got 89, 127, 129, 239, 241. So we can kind of, I don't want to say we can kind of go luxury here because I don't necessarily feel like we got that to be able to do, but we do got another set of picks that's almost back to back a little bit later. So Mark Robb said he don't like Scott at safety. But Scott he'll probably be flipped with Kyler if he's the pick, to be honest with you. You said I told you you hate safety. Well, shit, I hate all of these safeties. I don't hate all these safeties, but I don't like you already know who I wanted. And he was going at 39. And then shit, everybody else went all in that same range. I told you it was gonna be a run at safety. So I'm not even really mad at it. Because to be honest with you, if we do pick up one of these nickel hybrids, I probably would like to see Kyler go back there. I feel like I'd be very, very interested in seeing Kyler go back there, to be honest. Um, so be disappointed in something else. Sorry. Um, Trading down from this spot though, I'm not. I did get a trade offer, 105 and 241 from 89. So I'll have 105, 127, 129, and 231 or 239. Um, I don't really know. I mean, I don't think that's bad value. I don't think it's bad value in this trade if I was to take 105 from the Giants. But we will see. Now we need to sign a free agent safety, which is fine, I guess. If you sign him to be a fourth safety, yeah, I promise you, you probably don't give a fuck as much as you think you do. I promise you, you probably don't care as much as you think you do. But yeah, it'll be another vet safety, if they do that though. So, watch, I'm not mad at if they get a safety on like a 1 year, you a backup, you come in if one of these dudes get hurt, I'm cool with it. Maybe we could have got, well, no, I ain't gonna say that. Maybe we could have got one of them guys that left to come back for 5 or 6 million, but we'll see. Um, I haven't. Nah, this is a ball face ass lie. This is a literal ball face ass lie. Come on, you and I both know that's not true. You and I both know that's not true. Plus, we was sit there, I'll let y'all have y'all little shine where y'all was talking about edges and shit, and y'all cried about me picking Akeem Messador at 25. Anyways, um, J2K said, have I looked at VJ Payne? I looked at some of his tape. I'm not the biggest fan of his tape, but I'll pull up VJ Payne on here too. This is a person that we'll pick later though if we get him. Um, I looked a little bit at VJ Payne though. I thought VJ Payne was gonna be one of the higher graded prospects in this draft, but VJ Payne don't got no ball skills, and that's exactly why I said I didn't like his tape. Because when you look at some of these other guys that he compared to, like he's good, like he got good play speed. I just don't think I think he gonna be getting his ass routed up. Um, yeah, that's definitely not true. That's definitely not true. Um, I never said fuck safety. I've been talking about safety more than most of these other spots because I think that's gonna be one of the funner spots that we pick from. But we just started talking about other shit. What are we taking at 89, y'all? I'm trying to let y'all go through the motions with stuff real quick to figure out what's our best play here. Um, it sounded like some of y'all wanted to start looking at wide receiver or whatever on offense though. Um, I'm not really I'm not moved by the safeties that's left on this board. And my number one option at bringing the safety in was Stooks. He was going at 80, I mean at 39. So my backup if Stooks is going is definitely going to be Keontae Scott because I like the versatility that both of them bring though. 89, I'm not proposing a trade how we be picking a player. Proposing a trade gonna stretch this out a little bit longer than what I want it to be. And I'm a couple minutes from having to stand up and stretch because my back's starting to hurt sitting in this chair. Was Bud Clark taken? Bud Clark was okay. So let's do this. Let's go through the list real quick and see what came off during this second round. Because that's when a lot of these guys went. Second round as follows. Jets take Brandon Cisse. Cardinals Avion Terrell. Titans D'Angelo Pons. Raiders Chase Basantis. Giants Christian Miller. Texans Emmanuel Pregnon. 39 was trading Stooks to the Browns. Keith Abney to the Chiefs. Gabe Jacques to the Bengals. Ty Simpson to the Cardinals. EMW went 43 to the Cowboys. That was in a trade down too. CJ Allen goes, Chris Johnson goes, TJ Parker goes, Chris Bell goes, AJ Halsey went 48 to the Falcons. Genesis Smith went 49 to the Vikings. Kamari Ramsey went 51 to the Panthers. Was that all the safeties? That was all of the safeties that went before us in the second round. And I took the top option at that point, which was Keontae Scott. Um, Safeties that were after I took Keontae Scott, but Clark was still on the board. He went and Jalen Kilgore. That's it. So yeah. Bud Clark and Jalen Kilgore were still on board, that's not that's neither here nor there. We at what we at. Um J2K said I draft RB Jonah Coleman if you can't decide. He's gonna be a stud RB. Um Jalen Kilgore. See now I feel like you just y'all kind of stretching it for certain safeties. Like, well, I don't know. Y'all could like Jalen Kilgore and all that stuff. I'm not broken about it. My main thing about getting a safety in this draft was getting somebody in that spot that I feel like could start. And in this specific scenario, it kind of went to not even my backup plan, like my backup plan, because my backup plan um was trading Stooks. I wanted I wanted to be able to get um I wanted to be able to get in that 40 range or whatever, and I would have been more comfortable taking an EMW or something like that. I just don't want that to be my first overall pick as a safety. So it's the Bears in a weird spot with it. Um let's see. Jalen Kilgore can start over who we got. Well, hmm, I'm not saying that he's bad. I'm just saying I wouldn't be that excited about it. Jalen Kilgore was probably like out of all of the safeties that I've looked at, where did I have Kilgore? I think when we did I think when we did the safety breakdown, I had Kilgore like 7th, but I skipped over like the top 10 guys. So They didn't count in that. But all right, we go from there. I've been going through a lot of these comments. We ain't made no picks yet, so we gonna go. Let's go through safeties real quick and see who's still on the board. Zakee Wheatley still on the board. Zakee Wheatley. Let's see. Good explosiveness, agility, processing, run support, physicality, hip fluidity, long speed, technique, and position and size score. Below average ball skills. Um, Testing and combine. Pro day scores 4.62 speed, 10.4 on the broad jump, 33 inches on the vertical jump. That's the Key Wheatley, Lewis Moore. This one, Lewis Moore. I don't even know if I watched any. Did I watch his stat? I mean, his. I don't know if Lewis Moore was one of the people that I watched. So I'll have to look into that after we're done. I'm not showing tape today on the show, y'all, because we got to go through the process and make sure that we not putting copyright protected stuff on the show so that we don't get in trouble. And we wasn't able to get that done before the show today. So I'm not gonna be playing people film on the show, but we'll go over the stuff and talk about it going forward next time. Yeah, this is kind of that's one of the takeaways I have from this draft, Howie. Pass rush is that's gonna be done up quick. I kept saying before I think it's gonna be a run on defensive linemen early in this draft. So you gotta play ball when it's time to play ball. You're gonna miss out on some of these guys. J2K said Jalen Kilgore has excellent football character. He was a team captain and he works off the field. He reminds me of running back Thomas Jones, personality wise. Okay, so that's one. So I got to look a little bit more into Kilgore because obviously some of y'all are a little bit higher on him than I am. J2K says the Key Wheatley is a box safety, but not a thumper. Yeah, that's I don't think I was really too high on Wheatley either. I like Emmett Johnson. He's a dancer. I like him though. BPA equals defensive tackle Caden Proctor or offensive tackle Drew Bowery available. I I think we did 3 mock drafts on this show or 2. No, I think we did 3. Where each one of the hosts we all did one, and I think 2 out of 3 of them, Drew Bowery was picked up by somebody on the show. Claiborne from Wake Forest, I do like him. We like a backup to me. Dom dude versus tight ends, in my opinion. Okay. So yeah, let's see. We're gonna go to all and just see who's available because I seen y'all throw out some names. Drew Bowery 107. Caleb Proctor's on there. Derek Moore's on there. Zakee Wheatley. See, okay. From this spot, if I was making a pick and I got all these dudes, with the way that this board fell, I'm cool with either taking my one offensive pick here or just doubling down the position. Like, I can go O line here, I can go offensive skill player here, or I can just double up on like a secondary player, like a safety or whatever. But I don't really love these safeties. I really don't. Really don't love these safeties. Don't even really need to be looking at too much of that. I'm thinking I might just go. I gotta go somewhere else. Let's see. Yeah, this is kind of where I'm look. That's why I'm thinking about that. What's it called? Yeah, I'm definitely stuck in the middle on what I want to do right here. But I could trade down and just get another spot out of it. That was like my first mind to do. But if I go somewhere here, I just it's not really too much I could be mad at from this spot. So this was the trade that was offered. 105 from the Giants to give up 89 and 241. I like the spot at 105, but they don't it's not like they really got too much of shit else to give up from that. So we can either do something with this Giants trade, we can propose another trade in this spot. I'm trying to see kind of who else is in that range. Yeah, this is a spot I would probably be looking to trade back from. Trade down to pick 99. Caleb Proctor's a pass rusher, trade down to pick 99. Oh, I'm not just accepting that trade. I'm not just accepting that trade. Like doing mock drafts. I don't really put too much value into future draft capital. What tight end is available? Tight end. Let's see. This is who we got available at tight end, but I also wouldn't go tight end this early. I probably will wait another round, maybe two for a tight end because I really don't need too much of a skill player at tight end right now. I'm really more of an in deficit of a third tight end that can really block well. Let me, let's see. Get a little bit better. If y'all can hear me in the comments, drop a one in the chat so I can make sure y'all can still hear me clearly. Mm, mm, mm. All right, cool, cool. I see y'all can still hear me. Cool. Um, sh- Paul Martin. Good luck searching for that in this board. Good luck searching for that in this board. These ads in the bottom right corner of this draft board is really throwing me off. Um, hmm. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I thought y'all would have been a little bit more on the same page with consensus for some of these picks, but it's kind of interesting seeing all these different picks that y'all throwing up here. How we saying Kendrick Law? Um, I know he was oh, here he is. 115. Yeah, see, I don't think I seen his tape, but I did see a few clips of him um earlier when I was looking at stuff on YouTube. Um this is he's definitely he got good skills when the ball is in his hands already. Like not necessarily from a route running perspective, from like a yards out the catch perspective. Like I could see Ben Johnson using him as a good weapon. Um, I'm not mad at it though, y'all. Honestly, I'm not mad at it. Like, if he falls to us at the next spot, I'll probably take him there. Now, will he? I don't know. Will he fall to us in that spot? I don't know, but we'll go from there. I definitely do know Ben Johnson want his receiver. All right, Howard, you want me to offer a counter? What's the counter? What's the counter you got in mind? Um, we watched Kendrick Oh, we did. We did. You said he never falls to 129. We got we got 127 and 129. And I don't think he was there last time either when we did this. Um Paul Martin says center might be the best bet or take Derek Moore. Um NASCAR pass rush package. That's cool, but if you take Derek Moore, I don't think you really need to take Cassius Howell earlier than I don't think you need to take more than one edge because you're gonna lose some of that versatility factor. And I I feel it in my bones that they want to play edge rush by committee. It feels like that's just how they trying to set themselves up right now. Take out their round four and replace it with their next best pick. Okay. So we'll see that because I'm not mad at 105. I don't give a fuck about that round four though. 145, they'll go for that, but they won't go for 186 with it though. I wasn't necessarily mad at the 186, but let's see how many points this is. 46. See that's a trade I'm cool with making. So if y'all cool with this trade, let me know because I like the trade. Um, I like the trade. Now, how we gonna see how much longer I'm gonna be on here for the night? Cause it's almost one, and I want to go downstairs and eat. J2K said remove our seventh. Um. Oh shit. They gonna go for it. Hey, I keep my seventh. I'll keep that seventh. 186 and 231 stop. Swap. 186 and 239 swap. Can't do that one. It would probably have to be like a 192. That won't even get it done either. But they'll want to pick back for that. That's why. That's why. So as it stands, this is the trade right now. Give up 89, get back 105 and 145, and go from there. We don't got a one. We don't got a 192, Howie. Or 129. Oh yeah. They not going. They wasn't going for that one. We'll send this one in just so we can stop sitting around at this point in the draft. Let's see who just went from that section though. Damn it. Okay, let's see who just went. From 89, Elijah Surratt. I don't know how to say his name, so I'm not gonna try. Katron Allen, Kendrick Law. He went at 92. 92 is crazy. 'Cause we was just talking about him at 105. He didn't even make it nowhere near. Michael Trigg, Jonah Coleman, Drew Shelton, Bryce Lance, Parker Brailsford, Dominique Orange, Damon Claiborne, Malachi Fields, Chris McClellan, Malik Muhammad. So a lot of the names that y'all was saying came off the board right after us, after we made that trade. So I think yeah. Yeah, definitely. I feel like, you know what, stuff like this happens all the time when we do these mock drafts. It's like the Bears are in a prime position to get sniped no matter how you play it. No matter how you play it, they're in a prime position to get sniped. Um we got 105, we got 127, and we got 129 all coming up. We still got 3 picks after that. So I'm starting to like the late end value in the situation. I would assume the consensus for y'all is probably to take Zachariah Branch here, right? Because Kendrick Law was the consensus. We still gotta get an offensive tackle or a center if we go do that. So Drew Barry, he's sliding up to the top of the boards right now. We still gotta get a depth safety. Um, what else do we need? Defensive tackle, edge, safety. We kind of covered 3 of those. Offensive lineman and wide receiver. That's what we had on this board now. True Program said Branch here. Howie said click on Chris McClellan. All right, look at that. Howie said Caden Proctor, no brainer. Caden Proctor. Um, who did you just tell me to click on? I just forgot that damn fast. Hold on, let me go back to the chat. Chris McClellan. Oh, he got picked. Let's see. What is Chris McClellan about? A defensive tackle from Missouri. 6'4", 313. Okay, he got some size. Why this stuff loading slow? Okay, there we go. This would be one of your project players. Explosive, but not as sound technically. Balance and leverage, hand usage, rust execution, flexibility. When you look at his testing, 6 out of 10 on the RAS scale. Did he run anything? 505 40-yard dash time. 9-foot broad jump. It's not terrible. He would be a depth piece though if you took him in that spot, so for sure. Some of y'all are saying Branch. What you said trade up for we got 127 already, Howie. We don't need to trade up if you want 127. Or you trying to say trade up from 127 to get him? Caden Proctor or Drew Barry at 105. Click on Chris McClellan stats. Chris McClellan stuff low slow. I don't know why. Not like there's that much on here. Career stats at Mizzou. Ten and a half sacks, 133 tackles in 4 games. I wonder why. I don't know why they can't show you TFLs on here. I would love to be able to see that because that's a big part of that. That's a big part of that. They should be able to see TFLs on here. Dexter, Jared Woods, Gallimore Lynch, maybe Turner and Street at times too. Do we really need this? Yeah, see, Paul Martin. Most of these guys is gonna make the roster, but maybe 1 or 2 of them don't. Um, James Lynch and Kentavious Street, we got to see because and how he just kind of said it, they got zero guaranteed money. Um, how he said how trade Dex and cut Grady Jarrett. Trading Dex, okay, but cutting Grady Jarrett, that don't really do nothing but hurt the books and hurt the depth to me at this point. I think at this point you gotta see the Grady Jarrett shit through. You can afford to see the Grady Jarrett shit through, unless you just really want to overhaul and double up at D tackle in this draft. So we'll see about that. But as it stands, 105. I seen some people say Zachariah Branch. I seen Drew Bowery. I seen Caleb Proctor. I don't think we need another D tackle, so I'm probably gonna skip Proctor for this specific situation. Drew Bowery though, I like Drew Bowery, but if we go Drew Bowery, if and we get a skill player for the offense at some point, they got to be a burner, whether they a running back or a wide receiver. They got to be somebody that we can put in that can just affect the play. They could affect the play of the game. They can they can break a couple of plays every once in a while. So that's kind of what my head is at with that. I'm cool with either taking Drew Bowery though, or Drew Bowery or Zachariah Branch in this spot. Or maybe we go center. Center at 105. We could do that too. Do I almost got too many tabs open. My shit's starting to move slow. Let's close up some of these tabs. Some of y'all saying Deshaun dribbling. Um, all right. We keep talking about these skill players. So Stribling will still be there if we don't take him right now. Um, Stribling will still be there. He's 150. We got 3 picks before 150. So we should be able to pull him if that's the route that we want to go. Drew Bowery, there's a high chance he could fall off that board. Um, there's a high chance he could fall off that board if we look at center. Um, I really don't want to take a center this early either. I would really wait until we get to what picks we got. 129 and 145 to start looking at center. That's why I'll start looking for that. Um, yeah, I feel you on the Kendrick Law one. I think Kendrick Law went 2 spots before us. Um, Landon Robinson or Drew Bowery. Where's Landon's name at? I didn't even see his name on here. Oh, maybe that's because I'm in the wrong position group. So let's look at Landon. Landon 130. Oh, Landon's a D tag. I don't want to keep taking D tackles. Um, I really, I don't feel I'm with some of these other people in terms of us taking D tackles and stuff because them rooms just gonna be fat as hell. Like I understand wanting to do stuff by like committee, but it gets to a point where like now you just doing stuff that don't really serve the team when you got to cut some of these guys back anyway. So we'll see. But offensive tackle, I think we should go Bowery here, so that's where I'm gonna go. Um, stick with what I feel like I know. Let's see who's going off the board. Lewis Moore, Brian Parker, okay. Zachariah Branch went to the Colts. That's actually not that bad for him. Derek Moore to the Eagles. Um, okay. Okay, second, Seth McGowan went to the Jags. That's not bad. All right, let's see. Claiborne is going Paul Martin. Let's see. I see y'all throwing some names out there. Emmett Johnson did go. His name is no longer available. Where he went, I don't know yet. I have to look through these picks, but we'll figure it out once we get towards the end of it. So far, right now, the Bears have gotten Peter Woods, Keontae Scott, Cassius Howell, Drew Bowery. We got 127, 129, 145, 239, 241 left in the bag. Um, I think I'm gonna wait one more before I start looking at centers. So right now, let's look and see what's left in wide receivers. And like Stribling's still there. Um, I know a few of y'all said something about him. Kalen Black is here for the first time since I've done this. This was a guy that I was looking at taking late in the draft because I felt like he could be a good third back. Um, where's the trace profile? This stuff is loading up so slow now. This shit is loading up so slow now. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why their player profiles loading up so slow. But we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks left. So let's go ahead and get through these so we can kind of analyze how we did. Um, um, yeah, how y'all remember us talking about Heidenreich at that before um Nick Singleton. Nick Singleton. When we was doing this, Howie, I think remind me why, but because I don't remember off the top of my head, but I remember when we was doing this originally, when I had Nick Singleton pop up on my board, I did not pick him. And I don't remember why. But I gotta see. Okay, well, his player profile loaded up kind of quick. Mm. He just don't got the greatest IQ according to this stuff though. Let's see. I think that's why I skipped him is because I didn't like the way that they spoke about like his vision and stuff when you looked at his player profile. Oh, that's what I'm looking at right now, actually. His his vision and stuff is like opposite of what DeAndre Swift has. It's like DeAndre Swift do too much of that versus Nick Singleton, which is like it's not enough. So I don't know. Maybe if he come on his team and he's a third back behind Swift and Mananga or whatever, and they can kind of work on him and his vision. Um that's what you got there though. Let's see. I would hmm. Yeah, I don't know how I want to play this. Because I still in my mind, y'all, I still feel like we gotta get a extra safety in there at some point. We gotta get a center in there at some point, and one skill player on offense. So those the last three that I feel like we absolutely need to make a move for, but not necessarily in a specific order. So 127, 129, 145. What do y'all think we should be doing with the picks? I think Deshaun's still gonna be there if we I mean, well, obviously, if we wait till 129, he's more likely still gonna be there. Is he gonna be there at 145? I don't know. Um, I don't know if he's gonna be there at 25. A lot of these guys that's left though, is positions that's not really positions of need. At least that's at the top of the list. So Deshaun Strickland might be the pick in this spot. Um, Landon Robinson is a D-tack, and I know you want to take him, but for the purposes of this mock, I'm probably not going to take him because we did it in the last mock. We did Landon Robinson in the last mock, so I want to switch it up a little bit and see who's available. Um, but what you said, 129? You said Eli Heidenreich. That's a wide receiver, right? Um, Eli, and then you got 45 is Husky. Okay. Okay. I want to say he is a yeah, okay. Oh, that's the dude from Navy that we looked at. Okay, yeah, yeah, I remember. I remember him now. If we go BPA at 140, I mean at 127, it'd be alarms or which linebacker ain't a big need, but it's kind of a need. It's not like the biggest need, but we could do well with another linebacker, especially if they somebody that can move for real. But is that the pick at 127? I'm not really too sure about that. Yeah, I didn't even think about Kyle Lewis at 105. I don't know. Where did he go? Kyle Lewis to the Chargers at 123. Damn, he got close. He got really close, actually. 4 spots away. Yeah, that's pretty close. That's pretty close. Yeah, I don't like these dudes. I think 120, 127 is probably gonna be my quote unquote luxury pick. I won't get a high grade for taking Stribling this high. Um, but I don't want to wait till 145 to see if he's available either. So it's either or though. It's either gonna be running back or receiver that we take in this spot. I don't want to take two unless the running back unless one of these guys come in like the seventh round again, like Munanga, like a late draft pick or whatever. Um, let's see.
Our chicken.
What the fuck was that? Yeah, I don't want to hear no ads, bro. Um, no, I feel what you said, Howie. I'm kind of trying to let y'all go through the picks though, because we know. Well, I didn't have my little mock draft situation and stuff already. Um, but I just want to see what the general consensus is from the people. It feels like once we get this deep into the draft, we don't really know how we want to play it, but this is what we got. And just really thinking about it, like the picks that we have for this draft, because we just made a good amount of trades at this point. But we got a good amount of picks. We got a lot of fucking picks actually. Nine. Nine picks. Nine picks out of here. So I guess at 127, you really could go um some type of luxury pick, but BPA in this situation is a linebacker. That's not really a luxury pick. That's not really a luxury pick. So I think since we haven't taken we haven't made who's below 125. What do you mean who's below 125? Oh, Dallin Bentley. That's who's next after him. Yeah, 125 in this spot, yeah. Dallin Bentley, Garrett Nussmeier, Logan Jones, etc. Um, since we haven't taken a center, I could fucking just take Logan Jones and we move on to the next pick. Actually, that's what I'm gonna do. We'll probably take Logan Jones in this spot and then um go wide receiver or something at 129. 145, get a safety, and at 239, 241, we taking BPA. So that's probably let's just make that the move. Because we've done a lot of discussion over these last few picks. 154, 162, and 253. That's a lot of fucking value. But do we need 10 draft picks? Do we want to go 10 draft? First of all, we have 145, then 154, then 162, then 239, 241, then 253. Howie said counter. I don't know what you countering for because they gave you the best that they damn near had to move up in this spot, which the haul they gave you isn't bad. But yeah, what are you taking with all those picks? Well, I guess you could do what the fuck you want to do, right? I guess you could do what you want to do in that spot. Who went after we took him though? LT Overton? I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. So wide receiver, Deshaun Stribling is third on this list. Malik Benson 125. Deion Burks 146. So Let's see. Malik Benson, not a blocker. Not as physical, but he's explosive. Just not a physical player. Deion Burks and Deshaun Stribling. This is loading so slow now. Just another guy that's just very poor at blocking. That's probably what you're gonna see a lot of once you get into these later rounds of the draft. Some of these other guys, they might have been higher prospects if they were better blockers, if more physical, stuff like that. Um, I want to keep clicking on Kalen Black, and I can't remember why. It's something about the last time we did this where I was looking at his stuff and I was just like, I feel like I would like him, but I'm not sure. Did I draft him last time? I don't know. Kalen Black might be my pick for the offense. But Howie, I'm not accepting that trade. D Burks got fake combine number. How is that possible? How do you get fake combine numbers? And you said click Jordan Hudson. I don't even see Jordan Hudson's name on here. Landon Robinson, there you go at 139. He's still there. Oh yeah, that's what I was supposed to be looking for. I looked at his stuff before, but Mm-mm-mm-mm. Where is he at? 174. And I got 145. Then what? 129 and 145. Okay, so I'm gonna tell y'all what I want to do with these two. These two picks, I kind of want to go Deshaun Stribling. Well, not Deshaun Stribling. Kalen Black and VJ Payne will be my next two picks. Kalen Black and VJ Payne will be my next two picks. So you got that safety depth that you need. You got you a running back, a third running back for this room. And then you let your wide receivers play out the way that they is. You could still have a fucking UDFA, whatever, etc. So we gonna go these two guys and put this in here because we've been doing this mock draft for a long time. So we gonna go Kalen Black. Landon Robinson is still there. Did VJ Payne go? I wonder if he went. He did not. He did not. So we're gonna get our safety depth. Let's see. Oh, he's not supposed to go to 174. And then I got 163, 196, 244 from the Vikings. That's a division rival. I already don't want to do that shit. But let's see. If I give 145, let's see. I'm not picking Landon Robinson because we already picked Landon Robinson in the previous mock draft. Actually, for most of these players that I picked, I don't think I picked any of them in the last time I did this mock draft. At least the last time it was on me to do it. I didn't pick up none of these guys. So I'm trying to stay consistent with that.
Betty brings bold breaking news. Betty brings bold breaking news.
My bad. I guess ads just started popping up randomly. But yeah, I still think I'm going VJ Payne on this one because I didn't get him before, but what was I offered for it? 163, 196, 244. I'll take it, but let me see. 'Cause that's probably the rest of their fucking draft, is it not? Swap sevens with the Vikings and take 163, 196. I can get two other players out of that. Let's see how this goes for us. Maybe I'm not gonna like what they're gonna do after this point, but we'll see. Okay, the safety board stayed the exact same. No safeties went off the board. Since we traded away that pick. So now we kind of got our pick of the litter at this point. Let's see. Where were we at? 145. We traded back from 145. They traded up and got a DB. Landon Robinson goes 147. So Howie could stop trying to pressure me into taking him. Okay. So now we back on the clock. We did not get a depth safety yet. But we got 196 or 163, 196, 234. No, wide receiver. Now, I think Heidenreich was the only player that I would have picked from last time and this time if I get him. But I don't remember a whole lot about these offensive prospects. That's why I got to keep going through their boards back and forth, or their player profiles back and forth, so I can remember what guy it is that I'm looking at. And this shit starting to load so slow. So slow. Okay. Let's go. What we got after this pick? 196. That's a far fall. Damn. Well, some of the guys that I wanted to be in play for, not available, but that's all right because we kind of in the depth rounds anyway. I'm not gonna stretch it for Heidenreich, or I think I'm gonna go VJ Payne in this spot, and then we'll see what shakes out of these last few picks in terms of BPA. Paul Martin said, "Who? Kalen Daniels? Did he go already? I'm not sure." Let's see if I can search him by last name. Yeah, he's probably already off the board. Probably already off the board for him. But at the last, well, okay, so we got 3 picks left. We pretty much tackled most of our need positions. We got a D-tack. We got somebody that can help the safety room. We got an edge, an offensive tackle, off a center, running back, a safety. So we got a true safety and a nickel hybrid. Um, we pretty much tackled most of our need positions. We could go tight end here. We could go wide receiver here. Whatever the case is. Well, let's just start looking to see what's available. If we get a tight end, I want it to be somebody that could block. Like last time, I think we had picked up Tanner Koziel. And I think we got like an A grade for that pick too. Howie said 196 for wide receiver, 234 for tight end. Okay, so let's switch it down. Let's see who's in this other room. A lot of different names. There's some of the names that we was looking at. I don't want to keep going through these profiles and this shit is loading and slow though. This shit is loading so slow now. I don't know if it got something to do with StreamYards or what, or StreamYard or what, but all these pages just taking so long to load up now. And they wasn't doing that before, so
All right, let's see. I don't want to go through a whole list for these guys, so we gonna take BPA for wide receiver, and we're gonna see who's left for tight end, and take BPA for the last two picks. And my late round tight end was just taken off the board. Howie, I think both of the names you just said a tight end is already gone. I don't want to keep going through the profiles. Let's see. We're not trading shit else in this draft. We're gonna go BPA at wide receiver, BPA at tight end, and BPA overall for the last three picks. Unless it's another position we already took. Like, that's fine. I just want to see what we got for the rest of this draft so far. We're gonna go over some of the trades and stuff that happened in the first round, second round, and then we're gonna call it and get up out of here. B plus grade though, not bad. So let's see. Peter Woods, A plus grade. Keontae Scott, B minus. Cassius Howe, B plus. Drew Bowery, C plus. Logan Jones, C plus. Kalen Black, B plus. VJ Payne was a C. That was our lowest grade of this draft. Josh Cameron, Will Kazmarek, and Jacoby Thomas, all Bs. Or B plus. B minus and B plus. So as far as trades traded away, we traded away picks 57, pick 89, 145, 241, and a 6th-round pick from next year. On our trade grades, B, B minus, and C plus. So the value in these trades went down over time, but that's not unexpected, so to speak. Let me see the dashboard. Full draft results, though. Just kind of go through this real quick. So we already know what the first 10 picks was looking like. There wasn't a trade until 12 when the Dolphins traded back up to get Jamal McCoy. They traded with Dallas. I want to see his player info. I want to see the trade info. That's what I was saying about the Kalen Black thing. I think I picked Kalen Black last time where I was just really heavily considering it. Miami Dolphins, they traded back up to 12 to get Jamal McCoy in a trade with the Cowboys. We'll see how the rest of that trade went. Well, actually, I can kind of just do it by team. So let's see how these teams went. And I could just pull up their picks throughout the draft like this. Let's see. Arizona Cardinals, they got David Bailey, Avion Terrell, Ty Simpson, Malik Muhammad, Adam Randall, Kalen Barnett. I like what they did all the way up to 104. They traded back up to get Ty Simpson. Fucking the Jets playing around, so fuck it. Why not for the Cardinals? David Bailey though at 3, and Avion Terrell at 34. I'm not mad at it. Not mad at it at all. Howie, we actually talked about that a little bit earlier. I don't think I would have been in play at the price point that it was at, especially if it would call for 10th overall. Now, I did entertain some ideology in terms of giving up 25 for Dex, but Not if we were gonna get outbid it. I didn't want to keep sweetening the pot. It was more so of a situation of if he's available and y'all willing to play ball, let's do it. But let's not like try to stretch it out and make it something that it don't gotta be. The Titans, Jeremiah Love, fourth overall. The Titans was kind of cooking too. They got a lot of picks in this shit though. Oh my god. Jeremiah Love, D'Angelo Pons, Caleb Banks, Damon Claiborne, Cage Casey. Um, if that's even how you pronounce that. Deion Burks, Landon Robinson, Harrison Wallace, Thaddeus Dixon, James Bruckermeyer. They got a lot of picks. They got a lot of picks. The Giants started off with Sonny Styles. Then they got Caleb Downs. Both in the same round. Both within 5 picks. They took that 10th pick and used it. Got Christian Miller, Elijah Surratt, Nadame Tucker, Jack Kelly, and Dante Corleone. So they got some good stuff. The Browns with Carnell Tate and Spencer Fano in the first round. Who did they trade with? Oh, they moved up from 24 to 21 to get Spencer Fano, and they left the Steelers with Ovega Owane. This is all like this board, like it just looks pretty standard up until you get to 16 when you start seeing the Jets take Jordan Tyson, which they could, but Caleb Lomu goes before Caden Proctor. I don't see that happening. Kenya Sadiq falling to 18. I don't see that happening. Akeem Messidor going to the Cowboys. I absolutely see that happening. I feel like the Cowboys would be the one to snipe us for him if we didn't play for him. But man, this shit is crazy. Just going through some of these picks. Keldrick Falk went 22. Caden McDonald 23. We took Peter Woods at 25. Denzel Boston went next. Zion Young to the Chiefs. Colton Hood to the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys have some good picks in this too, though. You get, let's see, who all did they pull off? Akeem Messidor, Colton Hood, EMW, Kendrick Law, Jonah Coleman, Aiden Fisher, Keyshawn Elliott, Eli Heidenreich, Markel Bell, Trip Trayanum. And what's crazy is it's like how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players that I was looking at ended up on this damn team. Cowboys freaking snakes in this draft stuff, man. Jacob Rodriguez, 32 overall to the Seahawks. It's not a bad pick. It's not a bad pick at all. You said Dallas won the draft except for a round 1 bust. Well, they definitely had some good choices up to this point in this draft. So I don't think Keldrick Falk should have went. Where did he go? 22? I don't know if he should have went 22, but I mean, I don't know. Overall, I feel like if this was the way that the Bears draft shook out, I wouldn't be super mad at it. I would feel like we got sniped a little bit. But if I have any takeaway from doing these mock drafts and this pre-draft process, is that the Bears are in the prime position to get sniped. You're too low to be in play for some of these guys. Higher in the first, And in the second, you also too low to get the guys that barely did make the cut for the first. So it's like they kind of got to play the board the smartest way possible, man, because they can find themselves getting sniped, or they can find themselves trying to fill needs and not having enough picks to do it. Like we traded a couple of times and we ended up with like an extra pick or whatever. But maybe some of these transactions don't go the way that we thought they was gonna go as far as this draft stuff goes. And maybe we only get to make one trade, and now the amount of picks we got is the amount of needs we need to fill. So it's definitely a few ways to go about this stuff. Um um how we said our 25 and 57 for Miami's 30 and 43. I wouldn't be mad at that. I wouldn't be mad at that. Uh, but we definitely, ooh, I'm getting tired. We definitely got to see how it goes this upcoming Thursday. We got about 3.5 days into into the 2026 NFL draft. So once we get to that point, we kind of have to, go through everything that's happened on day one and see what's happened and see how some of these trades and stuff might shake out, what they changed for the second round and all of that stuff. But until then, the Bears has kind of just been staying their course in terms of not getting too greedy, not getting too thirsty, um, just kind of letting the offseason continue to come to them as we pass on, or not necessarily pass, but miss out on adding Dexter Lawrence to this team. But for the price point that it costed, maybe, just maybe, the Bears didn't make the wrong decision. So, with that being said, though, we're gonna come back and we'll have live coverage of the first round of the NFL draft. May even do day two of the draft with rounds 2 and 3. That up to this point is still to be determined. Um, but for now, we just sitting on our last mock draft for the next couple of days until it's time to get ready for the 2026 draft, where we get to meet and figure out who the Bears are bringing in talent wise going forward for this upcoming season. So that being said, we're gonna call this one a night and get out of here and see y'all in a few days. So make sure, how we said, when we on next, we will be on for the NFL draft. We're doing live coverage day one of the draft. So we'll be live this upcoming Thursday, doing live coverage for the NFL draft, going over the things that happened in the first round and anticipating what's coming up for the Bears at 25. Whether it be a trade down, whether it be they introduce a new player to this team, or however it has to work for us. So that being said, we'll see y'all on Thursday. And next time, more than likely, it won't be just myself. But if it is, y'all know what to do. We'll be in here anyway. That being said, good night. Y'all stay safe in these streets and get ready for this draft up coming up on Thursday. Peace.